Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was the child of the moon and Percy Jackson. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Royal Bioforge and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Would you believe that after dying young, you would be revived after a quest of your newfound friend? No. Then, you're in for a surprise. That is what exactly happened to a young demigod. Her name is Thalia Grace. The demigod who died at the entrance of Camp Half-Blood in order for her friends to reach the said camp safely. The same hero who was the reason why the entrance to their beloved camp is called Half-Blood Hill. Yes, the very same Thalia Grace. Camp was never the same once Thalia joined them, not to mention the summons that the resident ninja had received on the day the daughter of Zeus got out of her tree. For starters, the other campers acted like headless chickens around her. You couldn't even blame them though. They still haven't gotten over the fact that she was once dead. Also, don't even get me started on the Aphrodite girls, they made fun of you everything actually. They started with her punk-style clothes, then the blonde streaks on her hair that didn't go with her black hair, then they went after the silly birthmark thingy on her face, saying that only Naruto could pull that off. Long story short, they got narrowly blasted by lightning. Everyone who saw that made a mental note never, make fun of Thalia Grace. Nevertheless, she had a good time at camp, especially when she hung out with Naruto's posse. It was a nice for her and Annabeth. The hardest part to tell her though, was the fact that it was Luke who betrayed camp and poisoned her. She couldn't believe what her friends was telling her. After Chiron backed up the story though, she resigned herself to the truth. In other news, Naruto introduced Chiron to the great sage Toad and told him about the summons he got from the Goddamn Hokage. Since Naruto was a special case and he was actually from there, Chiron approved of Naruto going back to the elemental nations, even though summer session was far from over. When Grover learned of this, he practically begged the centaur for permission to go with Naruto since he was on break. It would have been better to ask the god of wine himself, but the satyr was terrified of him. After hearing no end to Grover's whining, Chiron consulted with Dionysus. He said that there was nothing wrong with it. I think he just didn't really care. Naruto chimed in and asked permission to take friends with him, which the wine god half-heartedly okayed. Naruto broke the news to his friends, but two of them declined. The first one was Percy, who said that he promised his mom that he was going home for the summer. And the second one was Annabeth, who was weirdly acting strange in front of Naruto. She started acting cold towards Naruto ever since Thalia's display and their surprising closeness after the latter was revived. Later on, the party who would visit Konoha was ready to go. The first to arrive, or rather camp out at the meeting place, was Grover, who was a little too eager to explore the shinobi world out. The wood nymph that Naruto saw at the dance last year, who he learned was named Juniper, came to his little camp to see him off. The satyr couldn't stop talking about their trip and the stories Naruto told him about his homeworld. The wood nymph was envious of his boyfriend because she, sadly, couldn't come with them since she can't venture far away from her tree. Naruto came next to find Grover's small camp. The scene certainly made him chuckle after remembering his old enthusiastic self. He planned to wear his old ninja attire back to camp, but it no longer fit him. Instead, he wore a Camp Half-Blood shirt modified with a whirlpool symbol at the back, paired with jeans and shoes. He still wore the necklace that Tsunade gave him, but this time there were two beads that were laced with the pendant. "Aren't you a little too early, Grover?" Naruto asked as he reached the meeting place. "Yeah, Grover. You wouldn't even be left behind even if you were late," Juniper added as soon as he heard him. Grover gave out a nervous laugh. "Sorry guys. I guess I was a little too excited." "That is one huge understatement," a new voice said. Everyone turned to see Thalia walk up to them, apparently hearing their whole conversation. "Come on guys. I'm just excited. That's all." Grover whined, earning laughs from everyone present. Eventually, Chiron and Mr. D trudged up the hill to meet the travelers. "Normally, I wouldn't allow anyone to just leave just like this, but given that you're going to a place with hardly any monster after your skin, I will make an exception." "Right?" Chiron nodded. "Now, is this everyone who is going on the trip?" "Yeah," Naruto answered. "Too bad Percy and Annabeth couldn't come. And is it just me or is Annabeth acting weird?" Juniper couldn't help but facepalm at Naruto's statement. Apparently, Grover told the wood nymph about what was happening with his friends. "You're smart, Naruto, but you sure are dense, you know that." Grover thought to himself, not wanting to offend his friend. "Don't worry Naruto. I'm sure Annabeth just has things on her mind right now. It's best we just leave her be," Chiron said. "Well then, if everything is in order, I guess it is time," Mr. D lazily said. "First, take these." Mr. D lazily waved his hand, a lone grapevine grew beside him. What was peculiar about this vine is that the fruits that grew on it were gold in color. The god plucked 3 of the grapes and handed each of them one of the fruits. "What is this for, Mr. D?" Grover asked. "When you are ready to come home, crush it and you will be transported back here to camp," the wine god explained. "Hinda like Lord Poseidon's pearls?" Naruto asked. "Yes, boy," the wine god confirmed. "And one more thing, for your 2 companions." With a snap of his fingers, a small black cube that looked like a radio appeared in his hand which he handed to Thalia and Grover. "What's this for?" Thalia asked. "It's so Naruto here won't have to keep translating for you too," Mr. D explained. "Ooh, handy," Grover said. "Don't eat it, satyr. Do you understand?" Mr. D preemptively scolded the satyr knowing his tendencies. "Why yes, sir." Grover stuttered out a response. "Okay then. Now that everything's in order, it's time to transport you to your destination." After waiting for final goodbyes from the wood nymph, Mr. D said, "Don't get yourselves killed there, you brats. It would spare me of the explanation and long boring report I would have to give to father if you did." "Wait," Grover's eyes widened. "Killed? What do you?" Mr. D snapped his fingers. From under the demigods and satyr's feet, grapevines started to sprout and cover them. After they were covered from head to toe, the vine started to fold and compress upon itself. The folding continued until there was an audible pop like someone removing the cork from a bottle of wine. Woods in the elemental nations. In the middle of the woods somewhere in the land of Shinobi, grapevines started to grow out of nowhere, scaring the woodland creatures that were milling around the area. A full stalk of vines grew out of the ground. Once it was in full height, the vines paused for a minute before receding back to the ground, revealing 3 teenagers from within the plant tendrils. Once all of the vines disappeared back into the ground, each of the teenagers rushed to find their respective spot where they could disgorge the contents of their stomachs as they felt sick after their interdimensional travel. "Oh gods, it was a good thing I was unconscious when I was first traveled," Naruto said in between hurls. "Erg," Grover groaned. "All those tin cans I ate this morning." "Ugh," Thalia nursed her stomach. "I don't know if I would get used to that." The 3 travelers spent a few minutes disgorging the contents of their stomachs as they recovered from the backlash of their transport. Once Naruto was feeling a little better, the smell of saltiness in the air entered his nostrils. "Wait," Naruto said, gaining the attention of his companions. "This smell." "What? What's wrong?" Thalia asked. Naruto didn't answer. Instead, he raced off towards the direction of the scent he picked up. They soon found a path that led out of the wooded area into a wide, open area with a large stone bridge crossing across the ocean. Naruto stopped in front of plaque built on one of the posts of the bridge. "What's the big idea?" Thalia asked when they finally caught up with him. "Yeah, Naruto," Grover said in between pants. "Would you run off all of a sudden?" Naruto didn't answer. He was lost in nostalgia at the sight of the bridge he was standing in front of. "Hey Naruto." Thalia yelled, trying to get his attention. "Hey. What?" Naruto was broken out of his stupor. "Sorry about that." "So, what is this place?" Thalia asked. "This is the place where I completed my first ever real mission, you know," Naruto explained with his eyes lost in though. "This is the place where I decided my ninja way thanks to the enemies that I fought that day." Grover and Thalia were silent for a while, allowing Naruto to reminisce about his past. A few moments later, Grover spoke up. "So, what does that say?" "It says, the Great Naruto Bridge," the blonde translated. "So, they named the bridge after you, huh? You must be pretty famous around here," Thalia commented. "Nah, I wouldn't say that." Naruto waved her comment off. "Hey, it's him. He's returned." One of the locals yelled to the other townsfolk. "Get Tsunade out here." More of the locals came and surrounded Naruto and pulling him towards town. Everyone was so happy to see him that they started giving him gifts from their shops that were too many for the blonde to know what to do with. "Come on, stay for a while. We'll prepare a big feast," one of the women said as they showed him around town. Naruto had to say that the place had totally changed after they finished their mission and restored hope to the town. Once they were in a big open area, the crowd finally dispersed into their respective houses so they could prepare everything for the feast. "You were saying?" Thalia said, referring to her earlier statement. Naruto didn't get to answer as Grover yelled in amazement at the gadget tied to his neck like a necklace. This is awesome," he yelled in glee. "Remind me not to eat this no matter how hungry or nervous I am." This earned a round of chuckles from the satyr's 2 companions. It was then that a gray-haired, bespectacled old man with a large beard and dark eyes approached them. He was wearing a sleeveless V-neck shirt with an obi, pants and a pair of sandals. There was also a towel which he carried a towel around his neck. My, look at you. You've grown. You're not quite the runt you were before," the old man said as he saw the blonde. "Of course I did, old man Tazuna," Naruto answered. "You haven't changed a bit." "Is that so? I know I've started to look older through the years." Anyway, come on, you and your friends can wait for the feast at our house. We have a lot to catch up about. Naruto, Thalia and Grover entered Tsunade's house. It still looked the same as when they were last here back in the blonde's first real mission. Naruto remarked about how Inari had grown up from the small brat he was when he was younger and how Tsunami, Inari's mother, hadn't changed a bit as well. Tsuna brought up about the news of Naruto's disappearance. The blonde had to think on his feet to make up a long story about where he had been all this time. The family didn't seem to buy his story at first, but they soon bought into Naruto's story, or maybe they Naruto to his privacy, not wanting to pry too much, who knows. After a few stories and introductions with Thalia and Grover, the feast was finally ready. There was too much food that was made, too much even for the locals. Grover asked why they did this, and one of the men said that it was the least they can do after Naruto had restored the Land of Waves back to its former glory. Everyone had a good time that day. It surely was a huge celebration that provided food even to travelers who were passing by. Even after the three were stuffed, the locals insisted for them to take home some more food. "Tsuo, is this where you live?" Thalia asked in between mouthfuls of food. "Nah, I only came here for that one mission," Naruto said. "My home is farther from here." "How would we get there then?" Grover asked. "You guys have taxis or something?" Thalia added. "Sorry guys. Normally, we would tree hop, but since you guys aren't shinobi, the only way to get around here is to walk, you know," Naruto said. "And how long till we get there?" "A day or two, maybe," Naruto said nonchalantly. "What? Hanahagakure Gate." Yawn. "Isn't there anything fun for us to do?" A shinobi with long, spiky black hair and dark eyes sighed out loud. This particular shinobi has a strip of bandage running across the bridge of his nose and a mark on his chin. "If you don't slack off, then maybe we won't be stuck in guard duty." A shinobi with brown hair combed down to cover his right eye. His forehead protector was worn like a bandana, along with the standard Konoha shinobi outfit, which goes all the way up to his chin. It was just another day in Konoha. Nothing interesting was happening, or so they thought. At this particular time of the day, the two gate guards heard someone speaking with a voice they've never heard before. "I can't believe this place," the voice said. "The nature here is thriving. How can you still enjoy the sights after walking that far?" This time a female voice that they also didn't recognize whined. "Let him be." This time an all too familiar voice said. "We're almost there anyway. We'll get to rest soon enough." "But you said that ages ago." The female voice continued her whining. "Is that who I think it is, Izumo?" The spiky-haired shinobi with a bandage over his nose asked his partner. "I think it is, Katetsu." "Could it be?" The now-named Izumo answered. The voices got louder and louder, along with their footsteps that got closer and closer, until the familiar blonde-haired kid walked past the gate. "Man, it's good to be back." "I told you it's him," Izumo said. "I didn't say anything, you idiot." Katetsu scolded his friend. "You guys. You're the two from the Chunin exam. Oh, what are your names again?" Naruto said, recognizing the two gate guards. The two gate guards' expression dropped when Naruto didn't remember their names. They just sighed and told him their names. "Anyway, you two are still stuck guarding the gate, I see," Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. "That's none of your business," Izumo said defensively. His partner cleared his throat. "Don't mind my friend here, Naruto. Anyway, who are your companions here?" "They're my friends from Naruto didn't know what to answer to the two. "Sorry you guys, I'll have to ask Tsunade no botchin' what I can tell everybody." "No problem," Izumo said. "She'll be in her office. Please, go see her now." Naruto, Thalia and Grover walked through town unnoticed among the people. They must have thought that the blonde was somebody else's Henj no Jutsu, though they gave odd looks at the blonde's two companions since they were new here. The blonde climbed one of the tall posts to take in the sights. To him, everything looked just the same as when he left other than the great stone face of the fifth Hokage. That structure amazed the dimensional travelers, saying that it looked like the faces on Mount Rushmore. Grover was sad that Annabeth wasn't able to come with them. He said that she would have loved to see the new architecture that they were seeing. On the way to the office, they passed by towards a particular stand. Thalia had to pull the blonde away when they passed by the original Ichiraku raiment stand so they wouldn't get sidetracked and other people might approach them without an official story to tell everyone. After much whining from Naruto after getting deprived of his food of the gods, they made it to the Hokage office. Once they were there, Naruto knocked on the door. Moments before Naruto arrived, the fair-skinned woman with brown eyes and straight blonde hair that parts above her forehead and ran down towards her lower back sat on her desk staring at the stack of papers on her desk. She was wearing a grass-green haori with the kanji eye on the back, inside a red circle. Underneath there was grey kimono-style blouse with no sleeves, held closed by a broad dark bluish-grey obi that matches her pants. Her blouse is closed quite low, revealing her sizable cleavage. She let out a loud sigh. Work in Konohagakure continued as usual despite the disappearance of one Naruto Uzumaki, but for her, it was never the same. A quick backstory for you readers, this woman had lost her younger brother and the love of her life in the previous war, which led her to give up on being a shinobi and go on a spree of gambling and alcohol. After the blonde had disappeared, she had a relapse of sorts. She had slowly spiraled into a depression of sorts, beginning to neglect work and drink bottle after bottle of sake. That is, until news of Naruto's survival reached her from the great sage of Mount Myoboku. She slowly returned to her usual self, assured that the boy she entrusted her hopes to was still alive and was yet to come home. He will be here any second, Lady Tsunade. You better not slack off, her companion told her. Her companion was a fair-skinned woman, onyx eyes and jet black hair. Her hair is straight and shoulder-length with bangs that cover her ears and frame her face. She was wearing a long bluish-black kimono with white trimmings, held closed by a wide obi, and open-toed sandals with low heels. I know Shizune. Can't I take a little break? After that question, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Tsunade said. The door opened revealing a familiar blonde along with two strangers in tow. At the sight of the blonde, Tsunade perked up and finally smiled after all this time. It is good to see you again, Naruto. Tsunade greeted. It's good to be back Tsunade no Bachan, Naruto greeted back. Sorry for disappearing like that. Senin no Jichin told me you take it hard. I have to admit, we were all losing hope that you would return, Tsunade said. Lady Tsunade here was depressed after you disappeared, Naruto. Shizune added. Tsunade cleared her throat. Shizune. Mind your own business. Sorry. Shizune apologized. So, Naruto, where have you been all this time? The million-dollar question was asked. Hope you're not busy, Bachan cause it's going to be a long story. Naruto answered. Actually, she left a lot of work to do, Shizune butted in again. Shizune the Hokage was getting irritated. Don't mind her Naruto. She's relieved to see. And don't worry, we'll make time for you. Shizune said. A few minutes later. So, that's it, Naruto finished his story. Tsunade and Shizune were speechless. They didn't know what to make of the blonde story or if he was telling the truth at all. It was certainly a bizarre story for anyone to believe in. Another world run by gods, huh? The Hokage finally said. It's okay if you don't believe me. I couldn't believe it myself either the first time I was sent there, Naruto said. And you're saying that one of the goddesses adopted you as her own son? Shizune asked. That's the gist of it, Naruto answered. The Hokage and her assistant deep breaths to process what Naruto had told them. Well, do you at least have proof? Tsunade asked. Sorry, this is all just too hard to believe. Naruto thought for a moment and walked over to Grover. He removed the satyr's cap and took away his crutches. Hey. Grover protested. Sorry Grover. But could you show them your feet? Naruto pleaded. Do I have to? Grover whined. Come on Grover, Thalia pleaded as well. You just need to show them. Naruto and Thalia took a little more pushing, the satyr relented. I suppose. You see, I don't really need these crutches, the satyr slowly took off his shoes and raised up his pant sleeves revealing to the Hokage and her assistant a pair of hairy goat feet. This earned a couple of wide eyes from the other two in the room. Naruto noticed their expression and asked, you can see this? Tell me you are seeing this too, Shizune, the Hokage told her assistant. I can Tsunade-sama, although I am having a hard time comprehending it myself, she answered. Thalia frowned. Could it be? She raised her fingers and snapped her breaking Tsunade and Shizune off their shock. Sorry about that, Tsunade apologized. This is all too much to take in all at once. That didn't work. It was Thalia's turn to be shocked. Why? What did you do? Naruto asked. I tried manipulating the mist, but I can't feel it anywhere around here. Thalia answered. Then, I guess there's no mist around here, Grover guessed. Well, I guess there's your proof, Naruto said. I guess we have no choice but to believe you, Tsunade finally said after giving it a thought. That would explain why you three are wearing clothes we have never seen before. So, what do we tell everybody? Naruto asked. I doubt anyone would believe you even if you did tell the truth, Tsunade said. The official story would be you were taken into the next continent. I suppose that we best. Just then, frantic footsteps could be heard from the hallway. The owner of which barged into the Hokage office without even knocking, surprising everyone in the room. There stood a pink-haired teen wearing a red kipao dress. She had black gloves, low heel, knee-high boots, black shorts underneath a short gray apron skirt, and gray elbow protectors. There was also a forehead protector tied like a bandana on her hair and a medical pouch tied to her thigh. There at the doorway, she stood staring at Naruto almost teary-eyed. Sakura-chan, Naruto greeted the newcomer. Hey there. After disappearing all this time, that's all you have to say. The now-named Sakura said as she walked forward ignoring the blonde's two companions. How have you been? Naruto added, but Sakura was still not amused, so he winced expecting to be punched the way she did to him back when they were kids. But the punch never came. Instead, Naruto felt two arms wrap around him. He opened them to see Sakura wrapping him in an embrace. Idioti thought I lost you too. Chapter 2. Yawn. A familiar pink-haired teen groaned from her sleep as the alarm clock on the desk beside her bed rang, signaling the start of another day. She didn't want to say it out loud, but she didn't look forward to this day like any other day. Well, not since that incident. Flashback. Sakura was waiting at the village gate ever since the party left to retrieve Sasuke. Tsunade had reluctantly left to go to her office to complete the piles of work that the Sandaime Hokage had left since he died. It was a pain, but she had to do it now that she was the Hokage. We have to return to the Hokage office, Sakura. Tsunade asked the pink-haired girl. Will you be okay here? The girl, named Sakura, had a faraway look in her eyes, but she managed to give an answer. I'll be okay here, Tsunade-sama. I want to be the first here as soon as Naruto and the others come back. I see, was all the Hokage could say. She knew where this girl was coming from, having experienced this long ago. Don't worry, she placed a hand on the pinkette's shoulder. I'll send them back up as soon as the others are available. Thank you, Tsunade-sama, Sakura managed to smile. Tsunade nodded and smiled, then turned to leave. A look of horror returned to her face as the thought of the piles of paper she and Shizune had to sift through. Sakura returned to gaze at the distance as she waited for her beloved Sasuke to return. She stood there for the duration of the day. A bunch of people passed her by as she waited for them to arrive. She was, first, greeted by Rock Lee, who surprised her with his regained ability to walk again after the injuries he sustained in the Chunin exam. He explained that Tsunade was able to get him back on his feet after a risky but fruitful surgery. He also told her that he was sent as backup for the team she was waiting for. She was, then, passed by the Konoha Medical Corps that was also sent after the team, followed by someone who had same markings on the face as Kiba, along with 3 ninja dogs. She greeted them with a simple hello and asked them to see if everyone was okay. Lastly, Kakashi passed her by sitting at the village gate after a mission. Sakura explained the situation to her sensei, prompting the masked Jonin to quickly report to Hokage office. A few minutes later, Kakashi returned to the gate set to go back up the others. Sakura waited there with renewed hope of Sasuke returning as the original team was now getting back up. She sat on the chair offered to her by the gate guards with her fingers crossed as she did the whole day. As the sun was about to set, she could see the backup party walking towards the gate. She didn't see Sasuke with them. Her gut consequently twisted on itself as she got a bad feeling that they have returned worse than before. Her eyes widened in horror as she saw Neji and Choji on the verge of death, while Kiba and Shikamaru with severe injuries. When Shikamaru saw the pinkette waiting at the gate, he walked up to her and said, I'm sorry Sakura. I couldn't bring everyone back. What do you mean? Sakura asked, not understanding what was happening. Where's Naruto? Shikamaru shook his head. His eyes were on the verge of tears, but he managed to stay strong. Naruto is gone. End of flashback. Sakura was broken out of her musings as the voice of her mother blasted through the house, calling her down for breakfast. Sakura. Come on down or you'll be late. Her mother called out. She frowned. I know, Mom. I'm not a kid anymore. She sighed. Her eyes drifted to the one picture on the desk by her bed. It was their first picture taken when Team 7 was first formed. I'll find you someday, Naruto, and then, we'll both bring Sasuke back. The pink-haired Kunoichi got ready for her day. She finally went down to her mother and had breakfast that she had been pestering her with all morning. As soon as she was done, she left the house to go to work. Although she didn't want to, she had to go since she was a full-fledged Kunoichi. She just had to suffer through the day as she always did ever since her teammate disappeared. As she walked through the streets of Konoha, she couldn't help but overhear the other villagers gossiping this early in the morning. She heard them talking about a spiky blonde-haired teen with whisker marks on his face walking through town wearing weird clothes that they have never seen before. Could it be? Has he finally come home? These questions ran through her mind as she listened to the women's conversations. It came to the point where she couldn't take it anymore and she had to disrupt them from the talking. Where? She burst into the question. Where was he headed? The women looked at her annoyed, but they still answered her question. Suki saw her headed to the Hokage's office just this morning. If you head there now, you might catch him. She bowed her head in gratitude to the lady who answered her question. Thank you, ma'am. The ladies just looked at her oddly and shrugged, returning to their early morning gossip. Sakura rushed to the Hokage office to see if the rumors were true. She had the fingers crossed the whole time she was running to where she might see Naruto again. After all these years that he has been gone, even seeing that idiot isn't so bad after all. It didn't take too long for her to reach the door of the office. In any other day, she would have knocked on the door and waited for a response from the Hokage, but today was different. Everything was thrown out of the window as she burst through the Hokage office to see right in front of her the blonde idiot who disappeared on her 2 years ago. Even though she found this idiot annoying when they were younger, it was nice seeing him again after all this time. Hey, Sakura was all that idiot said to the Pinket. She was speechless at the moment. She inched forward little by little until she was right in front of him. Instinctively grabbed Naruto and wrapped him in much anticipated embrace. Tears welled from the Kunoichi's eyes. This time her voice seemed to work again. Idioti thought I lost you too. Naruto was surprised by his old teammate's actions. Even when they were both kids, she never did anything close to this. But since he's been gone a long time, he gave her the benefit of the doubt and returned the hug. Up close like this, Naruto noticed that Sakura was now shorter than himself. Having raiment shortage in the land ruled by the gods made him expand his palate and try the healthier options that were available, so that in the 2 years he spent there, he grew significantly. But that wasn't important right now. As if on cue, his hands moved to caress Sakura's back in comfort to his crying teammate. "I'm sorry, Sakura," he said. "It must have been hard without me around." Sakura never wanted to let go for fear that this idiot might disappear on her again and the whole grieving process would start all over again. Naruto broke the embrace even though Sakura was reluctant to let go. His own blue orb studied his teammate's face causing the latter's face to heat up, but that didn't matter to her right now. He gave his signature 1,000,000 megawatt smile. "You've gotten prettier through the years, Sakura." Sakura struggled to find the words to answer the blonde. She opened her mouth to answer, but… Ahem, Thalia cleared her throat, clearly not amused by what's happening. "So, Naruto, and are you gonna introduce us to the girl, ladies man?" He turned to his two companions and scratched the back of his head. He, then, gestured over to the Pinket and said, "Guys, this is Sakura. She's my old teammate. Sakura, these are Thalia and Grover, they're my friends from few other continent." Grover gave a simple wave, "Hi." Thalia didn't seem convinced. "Are you sure that's all?" Sakura didn't say anything. She was too busy ignoring the neurotransmitters brewing within her head. "Of course. She's gotcha other concerns," Naruto answered. "You sure?" Thalia asked again as she watched the change in emotion on the other girl's face. "Sure, I'm sure," Naruto reiterated. Sakura took this time to answer back to this girl she had never seen before. "Why? Are you jealous, girl?" "And what if I am?" Thalia returned a glare. "Who are you to him anyway?" Thunder began rumbling outside, despite the sunny day earlier. Sakura ignored the rumbling and flared her chakra. "I'll have you know he's been chasing me ever since we were young." "Hey. That is not true." Naruto protested, only to fall on deaf ears. "PSH, big deal." Thalia answered back. "Oh, I'll show you what a big deal is," Sakura said, flaring her chakra. "So, you wanna go?" Thalia answered back with the thunder booming outside answering to her bidding. Whoa, Naruto said, getting in between the two ladies. "Geez, girls, I just got here. And besides, this is Bachan's office, you know." As soon as Naruto said that, Tsunade cleared her throat to get the attention of the two ladies arguing. Sakura, then, realized she was in the presence of her sensei and promptly apologized. "I'll leave you to go show your guests around the village," Tsunade said. "Just be sure to be at the hospital after lunch for a physical exam so you can be reinstated as a shinobi." About that," Naruto said. "You am actually only here for a vacation. I have to return there after my break. They kinda need me there, you know." "I see," Tsunade said. "I suppose I'll just have to grant you the same liberties as Jiraiya." "Thank you, Bachan," Naruto said. "Speaking of the Iro Sennin, where is he right now?" "He's out there looking for you ever since you disappeared," Tsunade answered. I see. Naruto began feeling guilty. "I hope those toads tell him that I'm alive." "I'll send word immediately," Tsunade said. Naruto started thinking of everyone else that he left in this world, especially a gray-haired Jonin instructor. "Say Bachan, is Kakashi-sensei around?" It was Sakura who spoke up. "Oh, he know where he was going ever since you disappeared. I'll take you to him." Memorial Stone. Early in the morning, a spiky silver-haired man with dark gray eyes sporting a blank expression on his face as he stared at a kunai-shaped monument of sorts that overlooked a training ground where 3 stumps of wood rose from the ground. This man was wearing a flak jacket, dark blue pants, and a long-sleeved shirt that went up to his face. He also wears fingerless gloves with metal plates on the backhand and a chain necklace underneath. This said man left a cup of ramen complete with chopsticks in front of the memorial. "I'm sorry, Obito," the silver-haired shinobi said. "I couldn't protect him. It's like I can always hear his voice haunting me every day." Kakashi-sensei." A voice called out to him. Kakashi didn't look up. He kept his eyes on the stone. "There it is again. It's getting more and more real as." Kakashi-sensei. The voice called out again, breaking him from his mourning. The voice was loud enough for him to think otherwise. This time he looked up and turned to check his surroundings. His lone visible eye widened like he had seen a ghost. There he was. The blonde who was lost all those years ago is now running towards him. He raised a hand to rub his eye. He still couldn't believe what he was seeing. He felt like the gods were playing a practical joke on him for his failure to protect his student. But lo and behold, the blonde got closer and closer until he was right in front of him. "Hey, Kakashi-sensei. How have you been?" The blonde greeted him. "And Naruto? Is that you?" Kakashi asked, still questioning if the blonde in front of him was real or not. "Sure is, Kakashi-sensei." Naruto answered. "Man, you haven't changed a bit, you know." Kakashi's eye began to water, but he stayed strong and kept his composure. Smile lines appeared around his lone eye, signifying there was a huge smile hidden under his mask. "Welcome home, Naruto." At that moment, Naruto's companions were able to catch up with him. Thalia arrived first and punched the blonde on the arm. "Ow. What was that for?" Naruto complained. "That's for leaving us behind, you idiot. Can't you see Grover can't run as fast as us? You're lucky that billboard-headed teammate of yours was keeping an eye on him." Thalia scolded with the others right behind her. "Good morning, Kakashi-sensei," Sakura greeted. "I see he surprised you as well." "To be honest, I still can't believe you're here," Kakashi said, observing the blonde and his unfamiliar clothes. "Hope you didn't miss me too much," Naruto joked. "Why do you think he's always here ever since you disappeared?" Sakura said, arrived with Grover in tow. "Oh, sorry for disappearing like that, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto apologized. "It's no problem, Naruto," Kakashi waved him off. "What's important is alive and well." Oh, these are my friends from the other continent, you know." Naruto gestured to his friends. "Good morning," Thalia said, while Grover gave meek wave. "It's a pleasure to meet you," Kakashi said. "I hope Naruto hasn't caused a whole lot of trouble wherever you're from." "Oh, you have no idea," Grover said. "Hey. I was behaving myself, you know," Naruto protested. "Yeah? What about Tantalus waking up in the middle of the lake?" Grover said. "He deserved that." Naruto defended himself. "What about you switching the signs for the ladies' and men's bathroom a day or two before we left for here?" Thalia asked. A goofy grin appeared on Naruto's face. "That wasn't my idea, but I gotta admit that one was pretty funny, you know." Thalia shook her head. "Well, I do apologize for any trouble Naruto here has caused," Kakashi said. "He has always been a troublemaker ever since he was young." Naruto just scratched the back of his head like he always did. "Say, Kakashi-sensei. Wanna grab a quick bite to eat?" Naruto asked his sensei. "I'm sorry, Naruto, but I have a mission to go to," Kakashi explained. "How about when I get back?" "Sure thing, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said. "But if it's all the same with you, I'm going on ahead there." "I know you will, Naruto. You must have missed your favorite ramen a lot, haven't you?" Kakashi said. "Oh, you know it." Naruto beamed. "Well then, gotta run, Kakashi-sensei. The ramen is waiting for me." "Run along now, then." Kakashi sent him on his way, to which he did, once again leaving his friends in the dust. "Naruto. Wait up. You're forgetting about us again," Thalia yelled. "Oh right," Naruto ran back. "I hope you won't get tired of Naruto. He's always been hyperactive," Kakashi said. "Oh, we don't mind," Grover said. "He's sorta beacon of hope for us." Yes, he is," Kakashi said. Sakura nodded. "There's just a way with him that makes you want to follow him, you know." "I agree," Grover said. "Anyway, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Kakashi," Thalia said. "See you later." The silver-haired Jonin turned to the monument and said to himself, "Thank you for watching over him." Obito then turned to Naruto's companions from the land of the gods. "I'll see you guys around then." Kakashi waved goodbye and disappeared with a puff of smoke. Naruto ran back to his friends. "Come on guys. It's waiting for me." "What is?" Grover asked. "What else?" Naruto said. "The food of the gods." "You have ambrosia here?" Thalia asked, earning a weird look from the pinkette. "No, silly. The real food of the gods, ramen. Ichiraku ramen shop." "Man, I can't believe I'm going to taste Ichiraku's gain after all this time," Naruto said, practically with stars in his eyes and mouth watering from the thought of the food. "But you had some back in the other continent," Grover said. "It's different when you have the original coming from Konoha, no matter how similar the knockoff products taste like." "I didn't really mean that, Hebe-sama. I just needed to be subtle," Naruto said, thinking that last part to himself. "I believe it's what Annabeth would call framing," Thalia answered. "Yeah. Like that," Naruto agreed. "The food tastes better if you eat the food where it actually came from." "When did you become like this, Naruto?" Sakura asked. "You just never noticed, chasing after Sasuke and all," Naruto answered. Sakura didn't know what to say. The idiot didn't dare answer back to her before, but here he was doing so without fear of her beating him up. Although, her cheeks did heat up at Naruto's teasing. That's Naruto. A new voice recognized the blonde again. You're really back. The girl from the group of 3 shinobi happened to pass by. More of Naruto's friends? Thalia asked. Sakura nodded. The girl was fair-skinned, light blue eyes, and long platinum blonde hair worn in a ponytail reaching her waist, bangs covering the right side of her face, and a red clip on the left side of her hair. She was wearing a purple outfit consisting of high-collared blouse matched with an apron skirt. She wore mesh armor on her thighs, elbow, and knees, and stud earrings adorning her ears. The other one had a rotund build and markings on his cheeks in the form of swirls. He has spiky brown hair that grew all the way to his waist. He sported a red suit with plated armor on his torso, arms, and upper legs, having the same kanji for SS on the front. He wore a standard red forehead protector with a red band and stud earrings on his ears. The last one had narrow brown with a lazy expression on his face that disappeared when he saw the blonde. He wore a standard Konoha shinobi outfit customized with green-lined mesh armor on his wrist and ankles, and the plate of his forehead protector was sewn. Like his teammates, there were stud earring on his ears. These were Naruto's friends, originally assigned and teammate under Asuma Sarutobi. You guys? Naruto said, ignoring the protests of his stomach despite being really close to the food he had been deprived from all those years he had lived in the land ruled by the gods. The 2 boys in the team stared at Naruto, just like they had seen a ghost. There he was, their teammate when they went to pursue Sasuke all those years ago. Shikamaru and Choji stared at Naruto like he grew a second head. Like everyone else Naruto met that day, they couldn't believe their eyes. I see the rumors were true, Naruto's fellow blonde said. Yeah, I just got back today, Naruto answered. I thought you said you weren't popular, Thalia said. Could you give me a break, Thalia? Naruto pleaded. I told you I was not when we were younger. Yeah, right, Thalia said. Who's this supposed to be? Ino asked, narrowing her eyes. They're my friends from the other continent, Naruto explained. And Naruto? You're alive. The rotund shinobi interjected, getting over his shock. Ino's expression changed. They've never been the same since you were lost. Niji and Kiba too. A shinobi in a flak jacket stepped forward, allowing the tears to fall from his eyes. After 2 years of keeping it all in, he couldn't help it anymore. He poured all his heart in front of the shinobi that he thought he had failed. Then Naruto, he said, bowing his head to the blonde. I'm sorry I couldn't bring everyone back home. Some leader I turned out to be. Hey, it wasn't your fault, Shikamaru. Naruto placed a hand on his friend's shoulder. What's important was we were able to see each other again, Shikamaru wiped his eyes dry. I suppose you're right. You do owe us an explanation about where you've been all this time and who your friends are, Choji said. Perfect. Ino added in glee. You can tell us over some yakiniku. Sakura and Thalia frowned, but it was the former who made her thoughts known. Oh no you don't, Ino. Sakura interjected. We were on our way to get some ramen. What's your problem, Sakura? He's just your teammate, am I right? Ino answered back, to which planted the seeds for another argument to brew. Naruto sighed. Were they always like this? Grover hobbled over on his crutches. Naruto sighed. No, they weren't. They were always chasing my other teammate back when we were kids. I don't know what could have happened. Meanwhile, the sounds of glee echoed through the halls of a particular temple of one god in Olympus as she watched the scene of a familiar whiskered blonde trying to break up 2 arguing girls. I'm coming in. A gruff voice called out from the temple's entrance. The owner of the voice revealed himself. He was a huge and muscular man wearing a muscle shirt covered by a bulletproof vest and a leather duster completed by wraparound shades covering his eyes. He should be familiar to us readers to be Ares, the god of war. Ares walked into the room where the squealing was coming from. He let out a huge sigh as he saw what the source of the squeals was doing. You're watching him, again? Ares scolded. He humiliated me in front of everybody, right? Oh, get over it, the lady said. You're a god, he's immortal. That's what makes it worse, Ares grumbled. Come on, the lady gestured to Ares to sit down beside her. Look at him. He looks so undecided. Why are you so interesting about this anyway? Ares asked, not really getting her point. The lady pouted. Oh, you wouldn't get it. You're always about war this and war that, doesn't it get old? I'll have you know. Wars have changed over the past millennia if you just paid attention. Ares tried to explain. The lady gave him an impassive look. But isn't it the same fighting over and over? That's the god of war didn't know what to say. See? At least in love, you get to see the people falling for each other, the passion, and the heartbreak. It's a different story every time. Okay, I get it. He said, even though he really didn't. But why are you interested in the Kyuubi squirt in particular? "Oh nothing," the lady smirked. "Just trying to spice up his love life, that's all." Ichiraku Ramen stand. The two ladies bickered with the third one looking at Naruto with an annoyed expression on his face. Achoo. Naruto let out a huge sneeze. "Geez, I feel like someone is talking about me." He turned to Thalia, who wasn't amused. "I swear I don't know why they're like this," the blonde in question defended himself. "Looks like someone became popular when he was gone," Grover snickered in jest. Shikamaru heaved a huge sigh, the way he always did since they were kids. "What a drag, okay, Sakura, break it up." Toji and Naruto helped separate the two arguing Kunoichi. "As much as I like the idea of more yakiniku," Choji began. "Don't we have a mission to go to?" Ino pouted. "Can't this wait a little longer?" "We can't, no matter how much a drag it might be," Shikamaru lazily answered. "Then, how about a rain check?" Ino asked his fellow blonde. "Sure, whenever everyone's free," Naruto answered. Ino frowned. "Everyone? Why not? It could be a reunion for all of us, Naruto said. "Then, we'll catch you later, then," Choji said with the thought of yakiniku motivating him to complete the mission as soon as possible. And Naruto Shikamaru spoke up. "I'm glad you're back, but don't disappear like that again." "I won't," Naruto answered, to which Shikamaru lightly punched his shoulder and began to leave. "You win this round," billboard brow Ino taunted, wanting to get the last word to her childhood friend, earning only a smirk from her. "You have some explaining to do, mister," Thalia said with her arms crossed. "What? Why me?" Naruto whined. "'Cause it was your big mouth who said everyone hated you when you were young," Thalia said. "They did." Naruto tried to reason, but Thalia ignored him. "And you, Ms. Fivehead," Thalia turned to Sakura. Okay, no more fighting," Naruto pulled Thalia away from Sakura by her shoulder. He then got in between them and clasped his palms together. "Can we please have some ramen now?" Naruto said with a pleading look. The two girls looked at Naruto and couldn't help but soften up with the face Naruto was making. Alright. I suppose." The two girls said at the same time. The blonde's eyes brightened up and said, "What are we waiting for then? Let's eat." Leaf Hospital. Ichiraku Ramen actually treated them well once they entered the stand. The owner of the shop and her daughter actually got teary-eyed when they saw the blonde. They were overjoyed of seeing the boy who they treated as part of their family ever since. All four of them were actually treated by the owners to ramen as a celebration for Naruto's homecoming. The blonde actually helped himself to as much bowls of ramen as he could eat, so the other three had to drag him away when the time for his checkup drew near. And so there they were waiting. Naruto walked out of the examination room after having his medical checkup. "So how did it go?" Thalia asked. "Everything seems to be in order," it was Tsunade who answered her question. "He's as healthy as he will ever be. It seems you treat him well there." "Oh, you don't know how much he eats back there," Grover commented. "I don't find that too hard to believe," Sakura said, earning a round of laughs from everyone present. "Anyway, your results don't give me any reason why I shouldn't reinstate you as a shinobi. I will immediately process your reinstatement along with the papers to grant you the same traveling perks as Jiraiya." "Thank you so much, Tsunade no Bachan," Naruto said in gratitude, but he perked up at the mention of his master. "Speaking of Hirosenin, where is he right now?" "He has been made aware of your return and is waiting for you in the land of the toads," Tsunade answered. "Why? What's going on there?" Naruto asked. "The toads have requested your presence there," Tsunade began. "They're calling you there to train you in the toad arts." Chapter 3. Slurp. Ah, a familiar blonde-haired shinobi sighed in relief as he had another meal of his favorite food in the whole world. He was wearing mesh armor underneath an orange Camp Half-Blood shirt. "I will never get tired of this." "You sure love ramen, do you, Naruto?" Next to the blonde, a pink-haired Kunoichi watched him eat as he savored the meal he was having. "No kidding. I'll never get tired of this." The blonde named Naruto answered as he took another bite. "Say, Sakura. If you're getting tired of the food, you can always leave so that we can have our quality time," another Kunoichi who had long, blonde hair said to Naruto's left. "I didn't say that, Quit making up stories." The Kunoichi named Sakura argued back. "Easy girls," Naruto said, finally looking up from his food once tensions built up. "You're ruining the atmosphere." I don't mind the food, Naruto. As long as it's with you," another Kunoichi made her thoughts known. This particular girl is a meek girl with a slender build and a fair complexion. Her hair is dark blue that is kept in a Heim style reaching her lower back and strands framing her face reaching her shoulder. She was wearing a lavender and cream-colored hoodie jacket with lavender cuffs over a mesh armor. She was also wearing a navy blue pants, black, low-heeled sandals, and a forehead protector with a black strap loosely kept on her neck. We all know her as Hinata Hyuga. Funny thing though, she was the one who changed the least out of everybody. Flashback. "So, when is Kakashi-sensei returning, Bachan?" Naruto asked the Hokage as they left the hospital. "It shouldn't take long as the mission goes well," Tsunade said. "So where did you?" Beep. The conversation was cut off when the familiar sound of surprise caught everyone's attention. It was Naruto who moved towards the sound to greet his old friend. "Hey Hinata." Naruto greeted. "How have you been?" And then Hinata's face turned fully cherry red. The blonde noticed this and placed a hand on her forehead. "Are you feeling okay? You look like you have a fever," Naruto commented. I was all Hinata could get out before the color drained for her face, and she fainted. "Boy Hinata." Naruto panicked as he caught the Hyuga air before she hit the ground. "Oh, here we go again," Tsunade sighed as she watched the scene unfold. "Does that always happen?" asked a confused satyr. "Pretty much, yeah. Ever since we were kids," Sakura answered. "Yeah, pretty sure you were too," Thalia said sarcastically. Sakura flashed her an irritated look. "In any case, let's get her inside in case she needs medical assistance," Tsunade said. And so, they did, they went back into the hospital and found an empty bed for them to lay Hinata in. The Hokage did a routine checkup on her. She deemed her to be fine, just the usual fainting she goes through when a certain blonde was near. After that, she left the teens with the unconscious Kunoichi, as she still had work to do. A few minutes later, her eyes fluttered open. To her surprise, the familiar whiskered face was awfully close to her own, making her face heat up all over again. "Thank goodness you're finally awake," Naruto cheered. "Then Naruto, you're back," she said. "Sure am. I just returned this morning," the blonde answered. "So, how are ya?" "I'm alright. Everyone in our class is Chunin now, except Hinata's voice trailed off, her gaze shifting to Sakura for a brief moment. "That's awesome," Naruto said as soon as he heard the news. "We should celebrate as a whole class." That's fine," Hinata said. "I'll tell Shino and Kiba. For now, wanna get some ramen?" His eyes were literally stars right now as he answered, sure, why not? "But you just ate," Thalia said. But I called first dibs." Sakura had a stunned look on her face. Naruto ignored everyone behind them since the opportunity for more food of the gods was up for grabs. "What are we waiting for? Let's go." He grabbed the Hyuga's hand, helped her up, then pulled her along the way as they made their way to the stand. All three of those who were left let out a huge sigh. "Well, that's Naruto for you," Grover commented. "Honestly, I mean, does he ever get full?" Thalia asked. "In all those times we were on the team, he doesn't, especially if it's ramen," Sakura answered. "Even back at home," Grover added. "I don't suppose you guys want more ramen, do you?" Sakura asked the guests. "Oh, gods no," Grover answered. "I'll admit, it's delicious, but I'm too full to have any more," Thalia gave her own answer. "How about I show you some of our desserts while we wait for them to finish?" Sakura offered. "I don't see why not," Thalia said. "Let's go." End of flashback. Yeah, that happened as usual. After that, Naruto showed his friends around the village where Naruto and his friends grew up in. Although, for the two visitors, they considered it a town with how big Konoha is. Anyway, the guests enjoyed their time in the village. They were sad though that Annabeth wasn't able to come with them. She would have enjoyed the architecture in this place. The girl always did love rare designs. So, Thalia and Grover decided to take home souvenirs for their two friends. Naruto made sure to make it up to the daughter of Zeus for the sudden interest Naruto's classmates had on him, so he made sure to devote most of his time and attention to her. Oh yeah, and Grover too. Days later, as all other good things, their little vacation was coming to an end. Since Naruto had to undergo some training under the watchful eye of the toads, he stayed behind. When Thalia and Grover were ready to leave, Naruto led them a little way away from the Konoha gate. Before they left, Naruto wrapped Thalia with a tight hug and gave Grover a fist bump. With that done, the two brought out their grape-shaped ornament, stepped on it, and they were on their way. That left Naruto to go to the sacred mountain of the toads for him to train. The whole training was different to say the least. I mean, who trains by staying absolutely still? Naruto's ranting aside, it was a really productive training. Jiraiya and Fukusaku really hammered the arts inside of him. The training wasn't that hard, was it? It was just frustrating to train without moving. In the end, you can really see the fruits of Naruto's training. Which brings us to where we started. See. The other Kunoichi who Sakura called as Ino reiterated. "At least Hinata get it." Alright, Sakura relented. "But, Naruto." Naruto said. "Do you really have to leave again?" Sakura asked. "Well, I have a family there and they kinda need me, Naruto answered. The three girls had a look melancholy in their faces. They remembered the rough childhood the blonde had that shouldn't have happened had they talked to him sooner. Even the one who had been rooting for him ever since had a look of regret strewn on her face. She blamed herself for not going against her guardian's instructions to stay away from him. But that was old news now. All they could do now is feel happy for him. At least they won't see him with the look of hidden loneliness in his face anymore. Despite their feelings now, Ino still managed to say, "Still, we're happy for you, Naruto." "Thanks, you guys," Naruto said, stopping briefly from his meal. Everyone was silent as they each were lost in their thoughts. At the same time, they were broken from their thoughts as a voice came from behind them. "I believe it's about time we left now, Naruto." Everyone turned to see the gray-haired Jonin we all know and love wearing clothes of the style Naruto came in with the day he arrived, complete with a backpack slung behind his back. Damn, Konoha's seamstresses were good. With one look of Naruto's clothes, they were able to make clothes in a similar style, but in different designs. Now I hear you reader asking, why is Kakashi dressed in the clothes of the other world and calling on Naruto that it's time to read? Well. No, not another flashback. "Hey Naruto," Grover said during one of their downtime of touring the village. "Yeah?" was Naruto's response. "Your Jonin instructor, have you ever asked what his heritage was?" Grover asked. Naruto shook his head. "Nah, he was very secretive with us. Even when we did introductions during our first day as genin, the only thing he told us was his name." "Why, what's the matter?" "You know how I've been assigned to different schools to look for half-bloods," Grover began. "Grover? You don't mean," Thalia commented as she heard the conversation brewing. "My nose has never let me down," Grover said. "Why don't we ask him later?" Naruto offered. Grover adapted an uncomfortable look. Could you do most of the talking?" "Fine," Naruto relented. "We probably should ask him without the others," Thalia suggested. "That's probably best." Later. Naruto, Grover and Thalia met up with Kakashi as it was time for the Team 7 reunion that they had set up. They were now only waiting for Sakura to finish up her work at the Leaf Hospital. So, there they were, sitting in their booth at the barbecue restaurant. They were currently making small talk about more of Naruto's shenanigans in the other world. It was then that Thalia elbowed Naruto to get the conversation going. "Ow, would you do it so hard?" Naruto complained as he nursed his arm. "Never mind that, just get on with it already," Thalia waved him off. "Is something the matter?" Kakashi asked after witnessing the weird scene. Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto began. "Yes, Naruto. Is there something on your mind?" Kakashi inquired. "Is see Grover here cannot make guesses about a person's life by reading your energy," Naruto continued. Kakashi turned to Grover, like a seer or something. Grover flashed a small glare at Naruto and then gave out a nervous smile and nodded his head. "Why don't we hear what we got so far?" Kakashi said. I can feel like you never knew your mother. You got sent to your dad's doorstep on a small crib falling in the breeze," Grover narrated his prediction to the Jonin, adding the details that most sons and daughters of goddesses experience. Behind the Jonin's mask was a surprised expression that the teens could read as expression from the lone eye that he shows to the world. Not to mention, the satyr in the group has the ability to read his emotions. That's exactly what my dad would tell me as a kid when I ask about my mother," Kakashi explained. How did you know?" "Well, you might want a sip of your sake with what we are about to tell you, Naruto suggested. End of flashback. Saying that Kakashi was surprised is an understatement. After the three explained to him his situation, there was a look of total disbelief on his face. At first, he thought they were messing with him, but after further explanation and a quick discreet show of Grover's hooves, he was slowly getting a grasp of their situation. Then came the offer by Naruto for Kakashi to meet his half-brothers and sisters back in the other world. Long story short, the persuasive blonde was able to persuade the Goddamn Hokage to allow Kakashi to go with them to, as the official backstory would suggest, the other continent. And so here we are with Kakashi walking to the ramen stand to pick up the blonde who yet again was having some more of the food he totally worships. "You ready to go, Naruto?" Kakashi asked. "As soon as I finish up," Naruto answered as finished the last slurp of noodles in his bowl. He then turned to his friends, "At least I got to stay here long enough, right?" That's not enough," Sakura said. "I know," Naruto's voice trailed off. "But I'll always think of this place as my home." I wish I could meet your new family," Ino said. "Maybe, someday," Naruto suggested. Then, we look forward to that," Hinata said. Naruto smiled and brought up his arms asking for one last embrace. The girls scrambled one by one to each to give Naruto a tight hug and peck on the cheek. Well, the two did, but Hinata's embarrassment was too much just being in Naruto's arms that she fainted. "Yes, I know. Again." "Boy, Hinata. Not again." Naruto exclaimed as Hinata went slack in his arms. The other two girls took the Hyuga from Naruto's arms and propped her up on their own shoulders. "We'll handle, Hinata. You go now. You can't keep Kakashi-sensei waiting," Sakura said. "You sure?" Naruto asked just to make sure. "Yes, Naruto. Now go before we keep you here for good," Ino said. "Sheesh guys, I was just asking, Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Hum on Kakashi-sensei. And so, Naruto and Kakashi went on their way walking a little way away from the village gate. So, how do we get there? The white-haired Jonin asked. I was supposed to use this, Naruto said, producing the grape-shaped ornament from his pockets. But this only works on one person. Fortunately for us, Mr. D gave us another. The unexpected visitor you told us about. Yes, after we sent word of the extra passenger, Mr. D personally came and delivered one. And this, Mr. D, he's one of the gods. Yep. Naruto tossed one of the ornaments to Kakashi, to which the latter easily caught. So how does this thing work, exactly? He asked. You crush it underfoot and you wait for the magic to happen, Naruto explained. Okay, Kakashi nodded. Ready? As ready as I'll ever be. So, both shinobi did as Naruto had explained earlier. At first, nothing happened. Kakashi was about to question Naruto when the vine sprouted from the ground and enveloped them. As the tendrils rose from the ground to cover them, a thought crossed Naruto's mind. I hope they're not getting into trouble without me. Westover Hall, Bar Harbor, Maine. In an open field outside the school, there stood 3 demigods and a satyr facing off against an intimidating-looking human with 2 eyes with different colors and a long leathery, scorpion-like tail with spikes at the tip. Behind the 4, there were 2 more kids that looked like they were siblings. These were Grover, Annabeth, Percy, and Thalia. Grover had gotten taller over the months and grew a few more whiskers on, but otherwise, he still passed off as human. He had a red cap covering his curly brown hair and goat horns, baggy jeans, and sneakers and fake feet covering his goat legs and hooves. On top, he was wearing a black t-shirt with the words Westover Hall. Grunt etched on the upper left corner. At the moment, he had his reed pipes on hand, ready to play the notes to assist his friends. Annabeth too had gotten taller now than even Percy. What's changed was she now wore silver earrings that were shaped like owl, the symbol of her mother, Athena. Before she usually had her hair in a long ponytail, now she let her hair naturally tumble down her shoulders. Right now, her dagger was drawn and a New York Yankees baseball cap was on her other hand. Thalia had rugged black hair and black punk clothes and covered by a ripped-up army jacket. She wore black leather pants and chain jewelry. This gave her an intimidating appearance of her own as she glared down the opponent in front of them, not to mention being armed to the teeth. She was armed with a huge spear and, get this, a shield, modeled after the one used by the king of the gods. This particular shield had a figure of the severed head of Medusa molded on the bronze that brought spear to whoever this gal was facing. For Percy, nothing much had changed over the months as far as appearances go, but for his attire right now, there were ribbons tied over his black hair and a bunch of lipstick graffiti all over his face. Don't ask me how this happened, cause my guess is as good as yours. He had his signature sword drawn right now, but he was bleeding from a dagger embedded over on his shoulder. The demigods were staring down the man they know as a teacher from Westover Hall. A huge intimidating figure of a man with eyes of 2 different hues. But the numbers advantage, they should have the upper hand, right? Well. Thalia ran into battle and made a jab at the teacher's head, but the latter snarled and swatted the spear aside. His hand morphed into a huge orange paw complete with claws that slashed across the daughter of Zeus's shield, creating sparks at the impact. She was pushed back by the attack, but she managed to roll backwards and land on her feet. As she landed, the teacher took this moment to fire a volley of spikes at Thalia, the same spikes that were sprouted on Percy's shoulder. She was able to raise her shield to block the attack, but she didn't expect the force behind the missiles, and she was thrown back. Grover raised his reed pipes to his lips and played a frantic jig, something that pirates would play and dance to. On command, rope-thick weeds sprung from the ground and entangled around their opponent's legs. To get out of the trap, the man decided to reveal his true form to everyone present. He roared and the transformation began. His form grew larger, breaking the weeds that ensnared him. The face remained, but his body was that of a huge lion. His tail whipped around, spraying more of the spikes towards the demigods. "A manticore," Annabeth yelled. "Really? Who are you people?" The girl behind the mask getting tired of being ignored. "No way." The girl's brother exclaimed in glee. "He's got 3000 attack power and +5 to saving throws." "What are you talking about?" Annabeth yelled as she ran to knock both of them down. "Get down." More thorns flew all around them. Percy remembered his wristwatch and hit it. Metal spiraled out, revealing a thick bronze shield. Not a moment too soon, the thorns were sprayed in his direction, impacting on the newly sprouted shield that left a huge dent on the metal. Grover scrambled to get out of range, but he tripped on his own feet and landed with a loud thwack and yelp right next to Percy. "Yield," the manticore yelled. Thalia stirred and slowly stood up, and yet she still yelled defiantly, "Never." "Are you sure you want to do that?" The manticore's face twisted into an evil smile. The chill went up the spine of the demigods as the whirring of helicopter blades thundered through the night sky. And then, it showed itself blowing the mist away. It was a sleek black military gunship complete with attachments of laser-guided rockets. Lasers pointed to each of the demigods pointed at their chests. Searchlights were shown over everyone, blinding them. "Now, do as I tell you and come quietly," the Manticore said. "Damn it," Thalia cursed. But then, the most amazing thing happened. A shadow passed all of them and entered the helicopter. Suddenly the lasers shut off and the helicopter retreated slowly, confusing everyone, especially the Manticore. He raised a phone to his ears and spoke, "Come in. What's the problem?" The garbled voice spoke back to him over the radio, causing him to adapt a furious expression. He turned to the demigods and asked, "Which one of you did that?" Not one of them spoke up. They were still confused by what happened. "I asked you a simple question, didn't I?" The Manticore furiously reiterated. "Which one of you did that?" The Manticore readied the spikes on his tail. "Oh, I see what you want here, what will it be? Answers or screams?" He stepped forward on his way to the two siblings along with Annabeth. It was then that the shadow returned and intercepted him by kicking him at the chest, sending him flying away. The shadow was relentless. Without giving him time to recuperate, he followed him to where he landed and punched him to the ground, creating a small crater on the ground. That left the Manticore with his mouth hanging open and the whites of his eyes showing. "Glad I made it in time," the newcomer said with his back turned to everyone. "Is everyone okay?" Annabeth frowned upon recognizing the voice. The others, they adopted a look of relief once they recognized the new voice. "Naruto?" Thalia asked. "The very same," he answered. "Han." Grover said as he felt the power surging in their savior. "Perfect timing, man. Awesome," Percy said in delight. "Well, the hero always arrives right on time," Naruto said. Annabeth rolled her eyes. Naruto walked back to his friends climbing over the small crater. He stepped up close to Annabeth and ruffled her hair. "Hey there, Annabeth. I missed you too." Thalia finally stood up and ran to Naruto, wrapping him in a hug. "Naruto. You're back." "Sure am," Naruto said as he broke the hug and gave Grover and Percy a fist bump. "I see you found yourselves in a sticky situation." "Blame the seaweed brain here," Thalia glared at Percy. "He couldn't wait for the rest of us." "Why me?" Percy complained about being blamed for the situation. "'Cause you charged in all by yourself and almost get yourself and the kids killed," Thalia explained. "But I didn't, did I?" Percy said. "Yeah, but still, we could have planned our attack together," Thalia growled. "Guys, that's enough. What's important is we're safe, right?" Grover said. "More importantly, why do you feel like Pan all of a sudden?" The demigods were surprised by this. They took this moment to examine Naruto properly. It was the same Naruto they know and love, except for his eyes. His iris developed an orange hue with pupils and a slit pattern in the middle. And surrounding his eyes were orange pigmentations. He was wearing a short-sleeved red coat with black flame patterns, which was given to him by Jiraiya as a gift for surpassing him. "Naruto. Your eyes," Thalia said with worry. "No, it's okay. It's part of my new jutsu, you know," Naruto explained. "Like that time in Polyphemus's island?" Percy asked, to which Naruto confirmed. "No wonder," Grover exclaimed. "Pretty neat, huh?" Naruto asked, earning nods from his companions. "Anyway, who are the kids?" "Oh, these are Bianca and Nico D'Angelo. They're demigods we have to take to camp. They have the same strong demigod scent as you guys," Grover explained. "Hey," Naruto knelt down in front of the kids and flashed his 1000-megawatt smile. "How you doing?" "I'm..." Bianca's cheeks flushed at Naruto's close contact, while Nico had stars in his eyes. "You're so cool," Nico said like he was talking to a celebrity. Bianca elbowed his brother and began to speak, "We're fine, but can someone please tell us what is going on?" Naruto was about to answer, but the dust from the ground finished swirling around the Manticore, healing him from the damage he had sustained. "I have to admit, boy. You have caught us off guard," the Manticore said, standing up with the dust still swirling around him. "For that, I'll spill your blood and send your body to your mother." Naruto heaved out a sigh. "Sorry Bianca, was it? We have to take care of this monster before he can take anybody else's life." He then stood and looked to his friends. "Come on guys. Let's kill him properly this time." The five of them took a fighting stance, raising their weapons ready for another fight. But before all hell could break loose, the sounds of hunting horns pierced through the silence of the night. The Manticore's expression shifted to absolute rage, not happy about what's to come. Thalia's expression shifted to irritation. And Grover seemed to be dazed with his eyes seemingly heart-shaped. And Naruto, he was surprised by what he was feeling. It was the same feeling he had back in Yansei Academy, or any time for that matter, when he watched the moon. It was the familiar caring feeling from the one he had been longing to meet all this time. With his surprise, only one word escaped his lips: "Mom." Chapter 4. The hunting horn boomed through the night. Among the gathered people in the huge clearing, a large man with the features of a lion and a tail of a scorpion's face contorted to rage at what he heard. "No," he said. "It cannot be." He didn't get to finish his statement as a streak of moonlight zipped past through the heads of the teens gathered and sprouted on the lion Thingy's upper arm. Except, it wasn't a streak of moonlight. It was a silver arrow that glowed silver like the moon. The manticore roared in pain as he grabbed his shoulder and nursed his shoulder, pulling out the arrow. "Arg," the manticore complained. "Show yourself." Several spikes were shot out at different directions, dozens at a time, as he yanked the arrow out of his flesh. The blonde in a red coat fired several kunai, intercepting his opponent's attack. "Why don't you just curl into a litter box like the little kitten you are, Manticore?" Naruto taunted. "You are vastly outnumbered." "Why should I?" the Manticore retaliated in between heavy breaths. "The numbers do not matter since all of you are children anyway." "Children?" Percy asked. "Oh, wonderful," Thalia muttered under her breath. Rover swooned. "No way, they're here." "Can someone please tell me what's going on?" Percy asked. Before anyone could answer him, they emerged from the trees. Archers as young as 10 emerged from the trees and shrubbery. All of them were wearing silver ski parkas and jeans and armed with bows as their primary weapon. They advanced at the manticore without fear, with their bows drawn and aimed at the monster. One of the younger girls with auburn hair gathered in a ponytail and silvery yellow eyes walked ahead of their group. She was easily the most beautiful out of everyone gathered around, making every male, except Naruto, catch their breath in awe and a particular sadder swoon out loud. "Excellent work, my son," the girl said. "You never cease to amaze me." That voice the said blonde uttered as flashbacks of the time they spent trapped in the Lotus Hotel flooded his mind, especially that one voice who gave him a warning. "Is it really you?" he continued. "Of course it is," she answered with a warm smile. The orange pigmentation slowly disappeared from the blonde's eyes as he disregarded everything that was around him, revealing the sapphire orbs that stared at the young girl, threatening to spill some tears. He inched forward towards the girl, but he stopped in his tracks when some of the other girls moved to the defense of the younger girl and aimed their weapons at the blonde. "Stand down everyone. It's okay," the young girl raised a hand up to stop her companions from turning the blonde into a pincushion. When they lowered their weapons, the young girl gestured for Naruto to continue and said, "Now, come here my son." Without wasting another moment, Naruto rushed to the young girl, wrapping her in one of the tightest embraces he had ever given in his life. "Asen," he said, letting the tears fall. "I never thought I'd meet you." "I'm sorry, my boy," the younger girl said. "But Zeus had decreed it to be that way. If I only had it my way, you'd be with me hunting." As everyone watched this unfold, Percy leaned over to Thalia and whispered, "What does that mean?" "I think it means mom," Thalia answered. "Don't you find it weird that she looks younger and he's calling her mom?" Percy continued. Thalia gave him a punch on the arm, scolding him, "Idiot. Don't ruin the moment." The 12-year-old broke the hug and took one good look at Naruto. "My, you've grown from the bratty child I found in that waterfall," she said. "Akasan." The blonde protested as a light blush appeared on his cheeks. "Not in front of everyone." "Oh, I'm sure they won't mind," she said as she reached up to stroke his cheek, feeling a small purr that the blonde tried to hide. It was supposed to be a touching moment to watch for the demigods, for the hunters, some of them do not look pleased, but the manticore had to ruin it. "You're forgetting, I am still here and I can tear you all to shreds," the monster roared. The young girl sighed and looked past Naruto towards the monster. Without looking at the blonde, she told him, "We'll continue this later, okay? First, we have to take out the trash." Naruto nodded. "Me? Trash? You call me trash, and yet here you are directly interfering with mortal affairs, goddess," the manticore countered. "No, this is not against the ancient laws. The hunting wild beasts falls within my sphere of influence. And you, foul creature, are a wild beast. Permission to kill, milady." A tall and graceful lady stepped forward among the girls. She had brown eyes, a slightly upturned nose, copper-colored skin, and a regal expression on her face. "Permission granted, Zoe," the 12-year-old told the lady with a circlet. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the manticore roared defiantly. "If I can't have these half-bloods alive, then I'll have them dead if I have to." He dove for Thalia and Percy, who were still dazed from the earlier fight. Without fear, Annabeth charged the monster, knowing her friend's reflexes were still down. "Annabeth, no." Naruto yelled. "Get out of the way, half-blood," Zoe ordered. "Get out of the line of fire." Annabeth didn't listen. Instead, she jumped onto the monster's back and drove her knife into its back. The monster howled in pain and turned around in circles, trying to shake the demigod off her back. She then turned to Naruto as she held on for dear life and said, "You're not the boss of me. I can handle myself just fine." "Fire," Zoe ordered, despite the collateral damage that might happen. "No, you'll hit her," Naruto countered. Zo looked at him, are you saying we aim poorly, boy? As the argument went on, the manticore stood still with Annabeth still on his back. I suppose this hostage will do fine. Come after me if you dare. And you huntress, you shall pay along with the other gods. Those were his last words to everyone present before he moved to jump over the cliff. Damn it. Can't make it in time. He thought as he moved to intercept them. He was about to jump over after them, but the 12-year-old stopped him. Naruto, stop. Akasan. I can catch up to them, Naruto protested. The 12-year-old shook her head. There's nothing else you can do. All that training, and I can't even save her, Naruto said as he fell to his knees and punched the snow. Lift your head, my son, the 12-year-old said. Why don't you and your friend take some rest? I don't understand. Why is Naruto calling that kid, Mom? And who are these other kids? Percy asked. Thalia sighed out loud. I can see how you stress out Annabeth so much. The girl with a circlet, Zo, raised her voice at Percy's statement. Do not misunderstand, boy. She said that last part like it was a contagious disease. You are in the presence of. It's okay, Zo, the 12-year-old girl raised her hand. I can understand him not recognizing me. He is a boy after all. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Artemis, goddess of the hunt. As soon as she said that, Grover shook himself out of his awe-induced trance, fell to his knee, and said. Thank you Lady Artemis. You're so wow. Bed up, goat boy. Thalia scolded. Snap out of it. Can't you see? Annabeth is gone. Yeah, Grover, Naruto said. Lay off my cousin, will ya? The two siblings behind in the background just watch everything unfold, but they didn't find the right time to speak up because of the danger. Now that things have died down, the girl decided to make her thoughts known. Hold up. She said, getting everyone's attention. He refused to tell me anything ever since we left the building. Now that Dr. Thorne is gone, will somebody please tell me what is going on? She continued pointing at Percy. That was mean, Percy you know, Naruto chided. Keeping her in the dark like that. It wasn't my fault. The boy in question protested. The manticore didn't give me the time to. Okay, I get it, Naruto chuckled. I was just kidding. He then turned to the two, and for the first time that night, he was able to take a good look at the siblings. Then, it clicked. The interactions he had in the hotel returned along with the blunders he and his friends had. A smile tugged at his cheeks. Bianca and Nico, fancy seeing you guys out of that place, he said. The siblings racked their brains trying to think when was the last time he saw this blonde. Their memories from that place were kind of hazy, but one face was clear. It was only a matter of time until they recognized who this was. Bianca was about to speak, but Nico beat her to the punch. Hey. You're that guy who inhaled all that ramen. Nico said enthusiastically. SHHH. Naruto tried to shush him. Geez, you'll ruin my image in front of the ladies, you know. We already know that you eat a lot, Naruto. Thalia called him out. Your image is already ruined. Naruto sighed. Thank you Thalia. What are you doing here, Naruto? Bianca asked. Did someone bring you out too? The blonde shook his head. Nah, we broke out, you know. But that's not important right now. I believe you have some questions. Artemis smiled as she watched her son act like a big brother to the two kids. She leaned over to her second in command. Raise the tents. We'll be here for a while. A few moments later. The hunters raised the tents within minutes as the demigods talked and explained things to the two kids. Everyone was offered hot chocolate and cookies that no one had the foggiest idea of where they came from. Naruto began by telling them about the gods and their affairs with mortals. At first, Bianca dismissed his claims to be just another big fan of mythomagic. But then, the blonde asked about their parents. She didn't know what to say. She told him that they were orphans, but they receive a bank trust that pays for their school. Naruto explained that it sounds really familiar. That's what is happening to him. Shocking the older sister. He told her that people like them were constantly in danger of attack. Grover even brought up that the demigod sent attracts monsters to attack them. Memories of their own attacks came back to the two. Nico even brought up an I told you so face for her unbelieving sister who dismissed almost everything. And so, here they were. Thalia and Zo were glaring at each other, clearly not keen to spend time in each other's presence. Naruto and the kids just finished their history lesson. So, what happens to us now? Bianca asked, a shock of the revelation still evident on her face. Oh, that's easy. That's what we were here for. We came to get you and bring you over to camp. Percy said, enthusiastically. The camp? Nico asked. Like a summer camp? Percy nodded. Camp Half-Blood. It's a camp where kids like us go and train for summer. For some, they call it home. Zo spoke up. There is another option. Thalia growled, and her glare on the circlet-wearing hunter deepened. No, there isn't. That's enough you two. Let's leave the children to rest. Artemis sighed. And Naruto and Bianca, could I speak to you two privately? As they trudged to the head tent, an argument was brewing at the group of demigods that Artemis and the two in question left. To Naruto, it sounded like Thalia was scolding Percy about his rash decisions leading to the situation, but the argument didn't last long as Thalia walked out. Bianca and Naruto looked at each other, and Naruto just shrugged, used to the son of Poseidon's antics. Head tent. On the outside, the tent did not look any different than the others. Artemis led the two inside the tent. The inside didn't look intimidating as Bianca was expecting. Instead, it was warm and cozy. Silk rugs covered the floor. A golden brazier blazed in the center despite the lack of fuel. The goddess sat in front of a polished oak display stand that held her huge silver bow which resembled gazelle horns. Around the room, animal pelts of different kinds of animals were hung from the wall. She gestured for Naruto to sit beside her, to which the blonde gladly obliged. What startled Naruto for a brief moment was a glittering deer with silver horns. At first, he thought it was another one of the pelts, but his thoughts were quickly dashed when the deer stirred and sniffed him. He raised a hand to pet the animal, but he paused for a while when it reared his head back, then subsequently sniffed him. Upon confirming that the blonde smelled like its master, the deer licked his hand and allowed the blonde to pet it. Bianca watched the interaction as she waited for the cue from Artemis to let her sit. Both demigods were handed hot chocolate and cookies to make them feel at home. Before everything though, Zoe was sent to fetch Percy, much to the lieutenant's dismay. "Take a seat, child," Artemis said. "You need not be afraid of me." "Oh, thank you, Lady Artemis," Bianca bowed before taking a seat across from the two. "Are you intimidated by me?" the goddess asked. Bianca shook her head. "It's not that, milady. It's just he didn't think Nico's mythomagic game was real. Never in my life would I ever dream of meeting a goddess, much less being a demigod myself." "That's fine. I was the same when I first found out, but don't you worry, my cousin's awesome, you know," Naruto said. "How did you know that?" Bianca inquired. "This is the first time you've met your mom, isn't it?" That's Naruto didn't know what to say, but he quickly thought of something to answer. "I didn't need to meet her to know that. I just kinda knew it, you know." Artemis smiled. "That's sweet of you, Naruto. Now, for the matter at hand." Bianca looked to Naruto for support. In truth, she was really nervous about what would be asked of her. Naruto just nodded, silently telling her that everything would be alright. "As was said to you a while back, demigods must go to Camp Half-Blood lest they be slain by any monster that comes across his or her path or comes across their scent." Artemis began, earning a gulp from Bianca. "Especially you, young demigod. I sense your demigod scent is as strong as Percy or Thalia." "Now that you mention it," Naruto said. "It's kinda like back then with Percy, you know." "Geez, it that bad?" Bianca forced a smile. "I know I showered before the dance." Naruto chuckled. "You know, that's not the first time I heard someone say that when the demigod scent was mentioned. What we were referring to is akin to a homing signal. It was a spell cast upon you by Lamia, a daughter of Hecate, in order for monsters to find you easily. It was revenge for the curse Hera placed upon her for grabbing the attention of my father," Artemis explained. "I remember the story. It's yet another proof that most of what happened in Greek mythology is because Zeus, you know," Naruto said as thunder boomed overhead. "I see you've inherited your mother's personality. You do remind me of her in a way," Artemis commented. "But you better be careful with your words, especially with my father. He can be very temperamental." "Well, unless he wants a demon fox rampaging around New York City, then he won't touch me, you know," Naruto said, causing Artemis to ruffle his hair. Can we move on from the monster out to make a snack out of us?" Bianca pleaded. "Do you know who my parents are? Or at least one of them?" Artemis regarded. "Sorry, that is not for me to say. It is your parent that must claim you. Can you at least tell me my other choice?" She sighed. "Ah, yes. Females have the choice of joining my hunt and travel with me throughout the world free of responsibilities. You will gain eternal youth and live for many centuries, possibly longer. You will be shown how to defend yourself and shown how to take care of yourself without the aid of men." Bianca seemed impressed by the perks she would receive should she join the hunt. But at the same time, she thought of Nico. She couldn't bear the thought of leaving him alone, but then again, she didn't want to be responsible for him anymore. Thinking it over herself didn't help at all. While she was in her thoughts, her gaze shifted to Naruto, silently pleading for help. Naruto understood this, so he spoke up. "I'm not in the position to tell you what to do here, you know. Bianca, this is a decision only you could make. Should you join, I won't hold it against you. Just know that Nico is in good hands. Should you not join, then, I don't think Kakashi would blame you for that, you know. I know she would understand, right Kakashi?" "Yes, my child," Artemis answered. "As my son said, the decision is yours to make. We have just presented out pitch, as the mortals would say." Despite the kind words said to her, Bianca still didn't know what to do. Her thoughts were still conflicting, so she asked a little favor, could I think this over? I am still not sure what to choose. Very well, I will await your answer till sunrise, Artemis said. Thank you, Lady Artemis, Bianca bowed again. I shall take my leave for now. Artemis nodded and watched as the young girl leave the tent. Why do I get the feeling that if she chooses differently, I would get blamed for this? Naruto asked aloud. You would have to understand the hunters, Artemis said. They are still not used to you. I know, Naruto said. But they're the closest I would ever get to having siblings, you know. Then, you will have to earn their trust, Artemis suggested. I wouldn't expect you to take the easy way, would you? Naruto thought it over, then adapted a determined expression on his face. I'll work hard for them to accept me. I know you will, she smiled. Milady, Zoe said, fabric covering the tent entrance. I have brought him. She said it like she brought a rotten package. Thank you, Zoe, Artemis thanked her lieutenant. You better stay for this one. As you wish, Zoe said and sat in front of the two and gave Naruto a small glare. Join us, Percy Jackson, Artemis gestured to sit in front of them. The boy obliged and sat a distance away from Zoe for fear that she would gut him for just breathing the same air as her, which was not far from the truth. You should try the hot chocolate, Percy, Naruto said. It tastes awesome, you know. Percy projected a nervous smile. It was the goddess who decided to break the ice. Are you surprised by my appearance? Honestly, I still can't get over Naruto calling you mom, even you look younger. The son of Poseidon copied Naruto's signature head scratch. Hey, I don't mind, Naruto said. Who am I to question my mother's preferences? You are his son. Percy phrased that in a form of a question. Oh, Naruto. You know I wouldn't mind if you did ask, Artemis said. If you feel uncomfortable, I could pick something that suits your comfort. It's okay, Kasen, you know, Naruto said. There's a reason you do this, right? Artemis nodded. I can appear as a grown woman or a blazing fire if I chose to, but this is what I prefer. This is the average age of my hunters and all young maidens for whom I am a patron for before they go astray. Go astray? Percy looked confused as Zoe scoffed at his question. Grow up. Become smitten with boys. Become silly, preoccupied, insecure. Forget themselves. She explained. Okay, Percy answered. Zoe didn't look amused by that or by his presence in general. Percy didn't know which, but he was pretty used to those gazes from the girls in school. Except, this one was worse somehow. To somehow get out of the predicament, he spoke up, what did you ask me here for? Ah, yes, Artemis began. I believe you were told some disturbing things by the beast. I'd like to hear them. Oh well, you see, Percy began telling everyone that the Manticore had told. He mentioned about a general and something about the monsters stirring. Naturally, he got some of the words wrong, to which Naruto teased playfully. As the son of Poseidon narrated, Zoe's expression adopted a somber look. When he was finished, Artemis struck Naruto's hand, earning a look of concern from the blonde. Akasan, is something the matter? He asked. I had my suspicions that I hoped things would prove wrong, but after listening to this boy's tale, I fear they are right. The scent, Milady? Zoe asked. Yes, was all she spoke out to the lieutenant's question. What scent? Percy asked. Things that I haven't hunted in millennia are stirring, Artemis muttered. Pray, so old I have nearly forgotten about them. She stared at Percy. We came here sensing the Manticore, but he was not the one we seek. Tell me again what Dr. Thorne told you. Percy thought for a moment. I hate middle school dance. That's obviously not what my mom was asking, you know, Naruto commented. He said somebody called the general was going to explain things to me. He said I would do just fine since Naruto wasn't here right now. Percy narrated, causing Zoe's face to pale. General, you don't mean? Naruto and Zoe said at the same time. Not here, you two, the goddess said. Go on, Percy. Thorne was talking about a great stir pot. That doesn't sound right, Percy, Naruto corrected. Oh right, sorry. Percy said. He talked about a great stirring, and soon the most important monster of all will rise, the one that shall bring about the downfall of Olympus once and for all. That doesn't sound too good, the blonde commented. You think? Zoe said, rolling her eyes. Maybe, he was lying. Percy suggested in order to lighten the mood in the room. I am afraid he wasn't, Artemis said. I have been too slow to see the signs. I must leave to hunt this monster. Zoe tried to sound brave, though you could hear the fear in her voice. We shall leave right away, Milady. No, Zoe. This is something I must do on my own. Artemis shot her down. But, Artemis, she tried to argue, but it was for naught. This task is too dangerous even for the hunters. You know where I must start my search. You cannot go there with me. Artemis explained. As you wish, Zoe reluctantly relented. Akasan, Naruto looked at her with worry. Will you be okay? Trust in me, my son. I shall hunt for this monster and be back in Olympus by the winter solstice. Perhaps it would be proof enough to make the council believe in how much danger we are already in. Then, you know which monster it is? Percy asked. Let us pray I am wrong, she squeezed Naruto's hand. Can goddesses pray? Percy fired another question at Artemis's question. The flicker of a smile played across the goddess's lips. I am beginning to like your friend here, Naruto. Well, he does lighten up the mood no matter how dire the situation we are in, the blonde answered. Artemis smiled. Anyway, Naruto, may I ask a favor from you? Anything for you, Kasen, Naruto said. Could I ask you to escort your sisters to Camp Half-Blood? They can stay there in the meantime. Artemis asked, much to the dismay of Zoe. What? The lieutenant blurted out. But we absolutely despise that place. The last time we stayed there. I'm sure that Dionysus wouldn't hold a grudge because of your little misunderstanding. It's your right to use cabin 8 whenever you need it. And I heard they rebuilt the cabins you've burnt down. Artemis said. Man, is it that bad? Naruto asked aloud. Are you sure this is a good idea, Kasen? Naruto's words made Zoe look at him and point at him accusingly. If we must stay there, then I refuse to stay in the same cabin as this person. Naruto sighed. I guess it can't be helped. I guess I'll have to work things out with the other cabins. Don't worry, I'll be out of your hair for the time being. Then, it's settled, Artemis said. But, how are we going to get there? Percy inquired. Dawn is approaching. And you know who comes with the sun, Artemis said with distaste in her words. You don't mean, Naruto said upon realizing. Yes, my boy, Artemis nodded. It's time for you to meet your uncle Apollo. Chapter 5. Naruto didn't think that the conversation he had with his mom and Bianca and subsequently with Percy took the whole night, but it didn't matter. At least, he was able to spend time with his mother after 2 years of staying in this world. What bummed him out though was the super dangerous quest his mother was going on. Apparently, it was dangerous for even the hunters to go on. He couldn't help but be worried about her. To get his mind off of it, he leaned on his mother's shoulder as he watched as the camp the hunters had set up was quickly taken down as fast as it was set up. Despite being the beacon of hope for his friends and for camp, he couldn't help but rest his head on his mom in comfort, treating it as a shield that protected him from the worries of the world. He wouldn't admit it, but he felt like a little kid that still hid behind his mom when things scared him. In the background, Percy's teeth chattered as the cold still penetrated his thick jacket. He told the others about what they talked about and the goddess's plan of sending the hunters to camp, causing the satyr to turn pale. Naiko watched the interaction of the older demigods, not really understanding what was happening, while Bianca was studied him like she was worried about him or something. Then her resolve steeled and got the goddess's attention. Lady Artemis. I think I've made a decision. Artemis turned in her direction. Go on, child. The powers are good and all, but her gaze shifted to her brother. I can't leave Naiko behind. I know he will be hopeless without me. Hey, Naiko protested, but Bianca stopped him for respect to the goddess. I admire your courage to choose your family over your own interest. Though I am not pleased with your decision, rest assured, I and the others will respect your decision, right girls? Artemis said. Though they were not pleased, a chorus of yes, Artemis was heard from the hunters. What's going on? Naiko asked. They did. And you didn't join. Thalia asked, earning a nod from the young demigod. This gave her a smug look. That will teach that stuck-up hunter. She said that part as she looked at the hunter's lieutenant. Zoe saw this happen and spoke up. Do thee not think that I will hear thee? I am standing right here. The daughter of Zeus scoffed. I'm not even talking about you, girl. Why? Does it sound familiar? No. Zoe countered. Thy eyes looked at me when they were talking. That's enough, girls, Artemis stopped the argument. He's here. Who is? Naiko asked. Just wait and see, she answered. The sky began to brighten, causing Naruto to raise his head and Artemis to let out a huge sigh as she held the bridge of her nose and shook her head. About time, she muttered. He's so lazy at times like this. There was a burst of light from the horizon along with a burst of warmth. Everyone, avert your eyes, Artemis commanded, to which the demigods and hunters. The light and warmth intensified around them, causing those wearing winter jackets to feel overdressed. Then suddenly, the light died. Everyone looked to see a red glowing convertible Maserati Spider. Around the car, the snow had melted in a perfect circle, exposing the grass underneath. The car's driver stepped out, revealing a 17-year-old teen that bore a striking resemblance to a particular former counselor of the Hermes cabin, except he was taller and the scar his face was not there. He wore jeans, loafers and a sleeveless t-shirt. Wow. Apollo is so hot. Thalia swooned, causing Naruto to narrow his eyes at her. Well, he is the sun god, Percy said. That's not what I meant, she rolled her eyes. So, I'm not the only one, huh? Grover teased. Someone else is a fangirl too, haha. Oh, give it a break, Grover, the daughter of Zeus countered. At least mine's not as bad as yours. Grover couldn't think of a retort in time as the sun god spoke. Little sister. What's up? You never call nor write. I was beginning to get worried. For the billionth time, I am not your little sister, Artemis growled. Anyway, what's up? I see you brought the girls, he asked. Do you all need tips on archery? Doesn't it ever occur to you that this might be the reason that I don't ever call at all? Artemis asked. Who knows, Apollo shrugged. Maybe you're in trouble. Uncle Apollo, Naruto said, causing the argument of the two to stop. Isn't Kasan older since she helped Leto Op-chan give birth to you? That earned a smirk from the goddess of the moon. Apollo, on the other hand, looked him intently as if trying to place him. Then, it clicked. He finally recognized who this blonde was. He rushed over to him and grabbed him under the arms, like a baby, and effortlessly raised him into the air, causing the blonde to blush. Uncle Apollo. Naruto protested as he was swung around. I'm not a kid anymore, you know. Oh nonsense, Apollo waved him off as he placed him down. Don't you realize you're the only nephew I would ever get from my little sister? I am not. Apollo ignored his twin's protests and continued talking. Besides, Lil Artie here's been keeping me from you. So, tell me, how many girls have fallen for you? Do you need some tips? Ahem. Artemis cleared her throat to get the sun god's attention. Oh Artie. Almost forgot about you, Apollo turned to his sister. What did you say you needed? I need a favor. I need to do some hunting alone. I need you to take them to Camp Half-Blood, Artemis said through gritted teeth. As Artemis finished her sentence, Apollo raised his hand in a stop-everything gesture. A deep sigh escaped Artemis's lips. Oh not again. I hear a haiku coming along. Groans could be heard all around the hunters as they prepared for something cringy to happen. The demigods just looked at them in confusion. Green grass breaks through snow. Artemis pleads for my help. I am so cool. He opened his eyes to look at his audience with a grin. The hunters were giving him looks saying, are you done? Well, the demigods looked like they didn't know how to place what happened. The last line was only 4 syllables. Artemis rolled her eyes. The grin disappeared from Apollo's face. Was it? Yes. What about I am so big-headed? She suggested. Kasan, that's 6 syllables, you know, Naruto corrected. He is right. He adopted a thinking pose. I don't know what is going on, Percy said. Lord Apollo has been going through a haiku phase ever since he visited Japan. 'Tis not as bad as the time he visited Limerick. If I'd hear one more poem that started with there was a goddess from Sparta. I got it. The sun god announced. I am so awesome. He bowed, looking very pleased with himself. You done now? Artemis asked. Because I need you to transport these demigods to camp. No problem. He looked over to them. Well, of course, there's my dear nephew. I heard what you were up to. You're becoming quite the legend yourself. Oh, I wouldn't say that, Naruto meekly said. Oh, nonsense, Apollo waved him off. How about I get the muses to sing you songs of praises the next time you are in Olympus? Not as much as me, of course. Then his gaze went over to Thalia. You're Thalia, right? I've heard about you. Thalia blushed, which caused a small scowl to appear on Naruto's face. Hi Lord Apollo. Zeus's girl. You're my half-sister. He turned you into a tree, right? Glad you're back. I hate it when girls turn into trees. I remember one time. Naruto leaned over to his mother as Apollo began to narrate his story. Wasn't that his fault? Yes, it is, but he wouldn't admit that, Artemis answered, then she cleared her throat to get her twin's attention. Brother. The transport. Oh right, hang on, his gaze shifted again. This time looking at the son of Poseidon, who still had the bow tied to his hair and the lipstick marks on his face were now smudged. Apollo looked at him with his expression all serious. Percy Jackson. Yeah. I mean, sir. He answered. Unlike with the others, Apollo studied the young boy carefully without saying a thing, creeping the poor boy out. There was uncomfortable silence, making the sound of the crickets in the background sound louder than it should. Well, we better load up, he finally said. Cool car. Nico said, once again amazed by what he was seeing. Thanks, kid, Apollo said. But how will we all fit? Nico asked. Now that you mention it, he said as if mentioning it only now. Well, I'll have to switch it up for the time being. He took out his car keys and pressed the security button. Chirp, chirp. For a moment, the car glowed brightly. When the glare died, standing in the place of the Maserati was one of those turtle-top shuttle buses, the one used by schools for basketball games. Alright, Apollo clapped his hands together. Everybody in. Naruto looked over to his mother. I guess there's no changing your mind, Hakasan. I am afraid so, my son, Artemis said. For the sake of Olympus and this world, I have to go. The council does not know how much danger we are currently in. And there's no chance you'll bring anyone with you? Naruto once again tried. This mission is going to be dangerous, Naruto, Artemis ruffled his hair. I cannot risk anyone else, especially you. Before Naruto could answer, Apollo let out a loud oof which broke the two out of their conversation. Apollo Artemis, her voice dangerously calm. What did I tell you about flirting with my hunters? I do not help your hunters. I do not look at, talk to, or flirt with your hunters. Apollo waved her off as he got over the blow on his stomach. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. So, where are you headed? Apollo asked as he righted his posture. It's none of your business, Artemis blasted. Oh, I will know, Apollo said. I am the god of prophecy after all. Just get them to camp, you hear me? Artemis reiterated. No messing around. Oh, Olympus no. I never mess around, Apollo said. Artemis's gaze went to Zoe, you are in charge of the hunters while I'm gone. Do well. Do as I do. Zoe straightened. Yes, milady. Then, her gaze returned to Naruto. Could you keep an eye on your uncle Apollo? I don't trust him around your sisters. You can count on me, Kasen, Naruto said. But. Are you worried about me, my child? Artemis asked, cupping his cheeks. Naruto nodded, then snuggled into her touch. Have faith in me, son, Artemis continued. And if it's any consolation, I'll keep an eye out for you lost friend as well. Naruto's eyes brightened. You will? You have my word, Artemis reassured him. So, she must be someone special to you. Naruto hummed with confusion on his face. I don't know. I'm sorry I can't give you any advice, my child. This is not my expertise, but rest assured, leave the search to me. It's alright, Kasen. I know you will find her, you know. With one last hug, Artemis turned around and knelt down on the ground as if looking for tracks. She rose, looking troubled. So much danger, she muttered to herself. The beast must be found. Naruto turned to see Zoe had turned and boarded the bus. Apollo had a mischievous smile on his face and said, so, about those girls, I'll turn you into a real heartbreaker worthy of Apollo. Artemis heard Apollo's statement and cleared her throat, getting the sun god's attention. Apollo saw the goddess's irritated look and let out a nervous laugh. I mean, I'll teach you how to treat the ladies so they won't get heartbroken. That's what I thought, Artemis said, and with one last wave at her son, jogged towards the wooded area and disappeared into the foliage. Naruto boarded the bus. He entered the bus to see that the hunters had piled themselves at the back of the bus, while the demigods and Grover occupied the front seats. Thalia gestured to him to take the empty seat next to her, to which the blonde happily obliged. So, you finally met your mom, huh? Thalia said after Naruto sat down. Wish I could meet my dad. Come on. Don't be like that, Naruto comforted her. You will see him eventually. Although, I don't think he would be as expressive as Akasen, you know. Naruto, that's not helping, Thalia said. Sorry, but still, at least we got each other, right? Naruto said. I suppose, Thalia said, squeezing Naruto's hand. The moment was broken when Naiko squealed in delight at the thought of riding the sun chariot to be exact. This is so cool. Is this really the sun? I thought Helios and Selene were the sun and moon gods. How come sometimes it's them and sometimes it's you and Artemis? Naiko, don't be rude, Bianca said, reeling in her brother. It's okay, fair lady, Apollo said, earning a blush from the young demigod. It's a good question. Uncle Apollo, she's only 12, Naruto reminded the god. Relax, dear nephew. It was just a compliment, Apollo said. To answer your question, young demigod, it's called downsizing. Downsizing? Percy asked. Yes. Apollo nodded. The Romans started it since they couldn't afford all those temple sacrifices, so they laid off Helios and Selene and chucked their job descriptions over to me and Artemis. At first, I was bummed out, but then I looked at the good side. This car pretty neat, isn't it? But how does it work? Naiko continued asking. Isn't the sun a big hot ball of gas? Apollo chuckled, that's probably cause Artemis used to call me a big fiery ball of gas. And it's still true, you know. Naruto interrupted. Look, Naiko, it depends on your perspective, whether you're talking about science or mythology. Bingo, my nephew is so smart. Probably got it from me, Apollo praised. No, Naruto shot him down, but Apollo ignored him. Apollo ignored Naruto's statement and continued, this chariot is built upon humans' hopes and dreams about the sun. It keeps you mortals warm, powers your engines, makes everything look sunnier. Every day, I drive this baby from east to west, lighting up your mortal lives. It takes the form of whatever you humans perceive it. Makes sense. Naiko shook his head, you lost me at mythology. But that's, Apollo stuttered. Bah, never mind. TL. Doctor, it's just as a really powerful, super dangerous solar car. Cool. Naiko said. Can I drive? No. You're too young. Uo. Grover raised his hand as if he were in class. No. Apollo said. Too furry. He didn't pay Percy any mind, this time skipping him and moving straight to Thalia, who was hiding behind Naruto, knowing how the bus will travel, but that didn't stop Apollo from spotting her. "Ah yes. Daughter of Zeus," Apollo said. "Beep." Thalia let out a small squeal as she made herself smaller in a desperate attempt to hide. "And no, thanks." "Come on," Apollo said. "How old are you?" That got the attention of Grover and Percy as they looked. Even Thalia came out from hiding. I don't know," she said. It wasn't wrong. Thalia was a special case. If she didn't get turned to a tree and continued aging normally, she would be around the same age as Luke, around 19. But alas, Chiron said she continued aging as a tree, but at a slower rate. Well, no one really understood it, so they didn't question it. Apollo tapped his fingers to his lips. "You're 15, almost 16. How'd you know?" Naruto frowned. "I'm the god of prophecy. I know stuff. You'll be 16 in about a week," Apollo explained. That surprised Thalia. "That's my birthday. December 22nd. "Really?" Naruto said. "I'd better buy you a gift then." "Oh, Naruto, you don't have to," Thalia refused. No, I insist," Naruto said with a grin on his face. "That's my nephew capturing the hearts of the ladies," Apollo mused. "Now, since you're almost old enough to get a learner's permit, how about I teach you to drive?" Thalia fidgeted on the spot, trying to refuse the god of the sun. "Now, I know what you're gonna say," Apollo waved him off. "You don't deserve the honor of driving the sun chariot." Uncle Apollo," Naruto sighed, finally getting light of the situation. "I appreciate the enthusiasm, but she's not comfortable driving, isn't that right, Thalia?" Thalia let out a nervous laugh. "I'm kind of afraid of heights." "That's a weird phobia for a daughter of Zeus," Apollo said. Yes, it is," Naruto nodded. "So, can we just get going? This definitely counts as messing around. Akasan won't be happy." "Sorry, Lord Apollo," Thalia apologized. "Maybe when we're driving on the ground I could learn how to drive." "I guess I couldn't force you," Apollo's voice trailed off. "Or risk the wrath of Akasan," Naruto added, causing the sun god to turn pale. "Right," Apollo said. "All aboard to Camp Half-Blood." Percy didn't look too happy. He was going to fly up into the sky again, the domain of Zeus. The said god's warning still rang in his head, making him pale up the same way Apollo did when he was reminded of the goddess's wrath. "You okay?" Grover asked. "I hope Zeus is in a good mood today," was all the son of Poseidon's reply. Grover looked at him with sympathy and patted his shoulder. Apollo took the wheel and started the bus. For a magical bus, it still worked like a normal mortal vehicle. Naruto decided not to question that. And so, the engine started and pretty soon, they were on their way. Percy and Thalia gripped tightly as the bus slowly lurched upward and climbed up high enough for the objects look like dots from the window. Naruto, can we switch places?" Thalia requested. "Sure, why not?" Naruto obliged as the blonde scooted over to the window side of the bus. Naruto had to admit that flying was quite the experience. Despite being his second time to travel up in the vast expanse, the experience still exhilarates him. No amount of climbing high-rise buildings or the highest trees in the forest surrounding Konoha could ever close to this experience. Something about flying up at this height just makes you feel free, you know. To the new demigods, this was a different experience altogether. Sure, they had taken an airplane when that weird lawyer brought them to Las Vegas back in Fini. Neither Bianca nor Nico remember when they went there, but that's not important for the moment. The point is, flying in an airplane is one thing, flying in a magical school bus that's the sun we see traveling west every day is another thing. Saying that statement still weirds me out even now. "Cool," Nico said. "We're on a bus, but everything down there is so tiny." Bianca didn't reel in her brother this time. He looked to Naruto, who had his face buried on the window. She wondered how someone who seemed so mature at times could also seem like a little kid at other times. She made a mental note to ask Naruto about that when she finds the time. She might have not noticed, but her cheeks were heating up as she watched the blonde. As the blonde continued his sightseeing, it was disrupted when he felt someone gently grab onto his hand. He turned to see Thalia with her eyes closed tightly, trying to forget about the situation they were in. The bus shuddered, encountering turbulence, causing Thalia to hold on even tighter on Naruto's hand. "Ow," Naruto complained. Thalia gave him a sheepish look. "Sorry." "It's alright," Naruto said. "Don't you want a look of the view? It is amazing, you know." For a moment, Thalia had a look of curiosity on her face, but as fast as it appeared, the more rational, danger-sensing part of her brain took over and shot down his offer. No, not a chance. Percy was no better. Whenever the bus shuddered, he grabbed onto the seats of the bus like his life depended on it. It was like every shake of the bus's metal meant that the Lord of the Sky was sending a lightning bolt to shoot them down. "Not to worry," Apollo finally said. "Zeus won't blast the sun chariot out of the sky. It would cause an imbalance in the normal flow of things. Even he abides by some laws. Funny, he abides by laws, but he doesn't follow his oaths, Naruto joked, causing the experienced demigods and Grover to look at him with a shocked expression. What? Isn't it true? Anyway, he wouldn't risk blasting you with the hunters in the same vehicle. She would go ballistic if that happened, you know. That helped even just a little. At least, it made the ride to camp a little more bearable. But Naruto badmouthing the king of the gods wasn't really helping at all. Relax, my dear passengers, Apollo said. Just sit back, relax and enjoy the ride. Half-blood. Apollo wasn't kidding when he said it was just a short drive from Maine to Long Island. Well, to be fair, they were traveling up in the sky, so there was no stupid New York City traffic and other traffic from other cities too. Up in the sky, everyone could see the layout of the valley which contained the home for the children of the gods. They saw the beach, the dining pavilion, the cabins, the amphitheater, and the woods. You might be wondering why I listed the woods last, even though it was one of the first things you would see from the sky. Well, when you were at ground level, you wouldn't notice it, but from far up above, you could see a clump of trees that seemed like they weren't part of the forest itself. Naruto had been exploring the forest during his time at camp, but he had to admit it was the first time he saw this before. The bus slowly descended to camp right next to the canoe lake. Thalia and Percy looked a little better this time, now that they were on the ground. Thalia was so relieved that she forgot she was hand in hand with Naruto. We have arrived at our destination, Apollo said. Thank you for riding Air Apollo, the most gorgeous airline in the world. Can I have my hand back now? Naruto asked. Thalia's face colored a tinge of pink when she realized this and quickly pulled away. Sorry. No biggie, Naruto said. Now, let's go see camp. I kinda miss the place after being away for so long, you know. Naruto descended the steps of the bus to watch sea camp and stared in awe at what he was seeing. Normally, the camp's magic doesn't allow weather to enter, but it seems that Mr. D allowed the snow to fall lightly within the borders. To complete the theme of the season, the cabins were adorned with tiny flickering Christmas lights, except these ones seemed that they were made up of real fire. Naiko appeared beside him asking a bunch of questions about the camp. Then, there came Zo and the hunters. We'll be at cabin 8 when you need us, Zo said. And Yado not join us. Yeah, I get it, Naruto sighed. I better think of where I could bunk while they're here. Take care, sweethearts. Apollo hollered over to them, to which he was naturally ignored, but that didn't get the god spirits down. Well, I'll be off. Apollo said. The world needs some of its own. Watch out for prophecies. What? Everyone asked him. He didn't answer that. He just boarded his bus. The god pressed a button and the bus morphed into a red, steaming Maserati. See ya, everyone. Apollo said as he revved up his engine. Bye Uncle Apple. Naruto said, earning snickers from the nickname. He stopped his engine for a while. What did you call me? Uncle Apple. I just thought about that one the way here, Naruto explained. A nice nickname for ya, you know. I'm sure you can come up with something better, Apollo said. Nah. Naruto shook his head. Not a chance. I'm sure you can do better. Well, have to go. Bye. He said as he revved his engine and the car pulled up higher and higher until it disappeared in a ray of sunlight. Chapter 6. The Maserati revved into the morning, getting the attention of all the campers present. Since it was winter solstice, there were less campers here than in summer, since most of them only trained at the said season. But what was sad was there was even less campers that were left. You could say that this is because most the campers were back at the homes of their mortal parents, but even still, the number of children present is still way less than what you would expect. This greatly saddened Naruto and Percy. Several of the campers came forward to greet the newcomers. Some of them had a look of jealousy in their faces, but Naruto and Percy understood since they rode in the sun chariot of Apollo. One thing weird though was the demigods who walked towards them were covered in grime and dirt like they had been training. And thing is, they were training. Nice to see you haven't gotten yourself killed, Naruto, a masked adult came wearing a bodysuit that reached up to his face, a camp half-blood t-shirt, jeans and shoes on his feet. He gave the same vibes as Naruto, but he was fitting right in. You better get that thought out of your mind, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto answered. I'm not the same kid I was before. Oh, I don't think I have seen you here before, Grover said. Well, I am new here, and I believe I am what you people term as a demigod, the masked man explained. Whoa, Percy said. You've grown to adulthood. It may be surprising, but it does happen in rare occasions, Grover stated. Well, that is quite interesting, but I have yet to introduce myself, the masked man said. I am Kakashi Haddock, Naruto's Jonin instructor in the Elemental Nations. Here I will be your combat instructor. I understand your choice of weapons are swords and spears, and honestly, I prefer to use the kunai myself, but I have had experience going against said weapons in the past, so I hope I can still give you the knowledge you need to fight. It's nice to hear you introduce yourself with more than just your name, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto commented. Well, you see I didn't like you back then in your first day, so sue me, Kakashi countered. Geez, Naruto, what did you do to get on your teacher's bad side and on the first day to boot? Thalia asked. Oh, he pulled a silly prank on me. It was the old eraser on an ajar door prank, Kakashi answered for him. And I got you good too, Naruto let out a hearty laugh. Besides, you were very late back then. Grover and Percy sighed. Why am I not surprised? Percy said. Even back then you were still a prankster, Grover's sweat dropped. And a pretty good one to boot, Naruto beamed. I'll tell you a little secret, Naruto, Kakashi said. What if I told you I let you prank me before? What? Naruto replied confused. But you were so clueless back then. Well, I pretended to get caught as a test if you three were working as a team or not, Kakashi explained. Naruto resigned in defeat, but he immediately perked up, dang it. Next though, I'll get you for sure. Well then, I'll be waiting, Naruto. Don't try too hard, Kakashi said. Anyway, speaking of teamwork, everyone let's continue the training. I was told by our activities director that whenever the hunters are here, you have a friendly game of capture the flag, and I understand we are yet to win a game against them. The campers looked down in frustration at what the Jonin had said, but what he said next gave everyone the look of determination. So, take my training seriously, and we might just be able to win a game against them. Earlier, the campers looked exhausted, but now, they were ready to continue the training with renewed energy. Now, if you'll excuse me, Kakashi told the group. We'll have to resume now and he is expecting you. Sure, Kakashi-sensei. See you later, Naruto said. The big house. It turns out that even this camp of Greek demigods still goes with the seasons that the mortals celebrate. Stir. Strings of red and yellow fireballs decorated the wall without burning the wood behind it. Inside, a hearth crackled and the air smelled like hot chocolate. As usual, Mr. D and Chiron were playing pinochle in the parlor. Chiron grew out his beard and his hair for the winter months. He didn't have to pose as a teacher so he could afford to be unkempt. He was wearing a fuzzy sweater with a hoofprint design on it and a blanket lay on his lap covering the fake feet he had underneath. Hey Chiron. Naruto greeted. Ah, Naruto, Chiron gave out a smile. I take it your training with the toads went well. Of course, Naruto beamed. Sorry for not coming by earlier. When I heard these guys were in trouble, I just had to help. Well, thank you for bringing them back safely, Naruto, Chiron said, but his smile faded when he noticed a distinct lack of a certain daughter of Athena. But where's Annabeth? That's just it, Chiron, Naruto explained. She got taken. I wasn't fast enough. Oh dear, Mr. D said it like he didn't mean it. Plot twist. He really didn't mean it. Not another lost one. Percy and Thalia flashed him an irritated look. They were trying their best to ignore him, but he was kind of hard to ignore. Why? With that neon orange leopard skin warm-up suit and purple running shoes, who could miss him? Percy placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. No one blames you for what happened, man. Seaweed brain's right, Naruto. We all were caught off guard, Thalia added. Then, Percy turned to Chiron and asked, what did Mr. D mean about another lost camper? Chiron gave him a look that told Percy that they would talk about it later, then his gaze shifted to the two new faces that were with his longtime campers. I see you were able to bring back two new additions to our camp. Yes, Chiron, Grover answered. We don't know their parentage, but their scent is strong. The satyr gestured the two to step forward. Bianca gave a small wave to greet the activities director, while Nico looked amazed by what he was seeing. That wasn't saying much since he was amazed by almost anything. You must be Bianca and Nico, Chiron said. Welcome to camp. He then turned to Grover and said, will you take these two children to watch the orientation film? Is it G or PG? Bianca asked. It's PG-13, Grover answered. She turned to look at Nico. Oh, I don't know, Nico's too young for those. The said boy sent a pleading glance to his sister. It's be fine, Bianca, Naruto said. It isn't that bad. Well, if you say so, she relented. Everyone, except Mr. D, watched as Grover led the two new demigods into the room where they would be watching the film. Small smiles tugged at their lips as Nico cheered about Bianca, allowing him to watch a PG-13 film. Once they were out of sight, Chiron turned to the demigods and said, now, perhaps you could enlighten us about what happened. A few minutes later. Percy and Thalia were the ones in charge of telling the story of what happened to them in Maine. Naruto just listened to the story as he wasn't there when it happened. Thalia still seemed mad at Percy for acting rashly and going on ahead to confront the monster on his own. When they were done, Chiron had a crestfallen expression on his face, but he still managed to stay strong. He turned to Mr. D and said, we should launch a search for Annabeth immediately. Naruto, Percy and Thalia burst out volunteering themselves to the quest to search for the demigod. Certainly not. Mr. D said with finality, but that didn't stop the demigods from complaining and arguing back. The usually laid-back camp director raised his hand with a purple aura surrounding him, a certain sign that the god was about to do something bad. That did the trick to silence the three of them. Even Naruto, who was normally defiant, knew better than to answer back to God, especially to a god who doesn't take kindly to his defiance. From what you told me, he continued. We have broken even in this escapade, gotten ahead even. The way I see it, despite losing Annie Bell. Annabeth, Naruto grumbled. Yes, whatever and all that, he waved him off. You have procured 2 more demigods who have the potential to be powerful at that. Therefore, I see no need to send a quest to retrieve her. Right, you're saying we leave her there to die, Naruto muttered to himself, but the god heard it. He balled his hands onto a fist so hard, his fingers turned white. She would have to be smart enough to escape on her own. If not, she may as well be dead. Mr. D said. That was the last straw for Naruto. He couldn't take it anymore. He just stood up and left. Sorry about that, Chiron, Percy said as they watched the blonde leave. He just has a lot on his mind right now. Thalia nodded. Not only does he blame himself for Annabeth's loss, his mother also went on the super dangerous quest. Chiron sighed. I suppose that it can't be helped. Let's just leave him to gather his thoughts. We'll look for him later, Thalia said. In the meantime, do not fear for Annabeth's life, Chiron said, but he was having a hard time staying upbeat. She's a smart demigod. She will try to play for time. And if worst comes to worst, there's still the fact that Luke may very well want her alive. You're right, Thalia nodded. Luke will try to get her to their side. Percy had been holding it in ever since he met the lazy god who didn't care any of them in the camp. His anger was fueled back in summer when the activities director position was given to Tantalus, and the god still didn't care if the camp would be destroyed or not. Now, the god didn't care about a missing camper, he just snapped. You don't care about us here, do you? You'd like it if we all disappeared. Percy, calm down, Chiron said with a tone drenched in warning, but with the boy's anger, he didn't heed it. You have a point. The god stifled a yawn. Yeah, Percy growled. Just because you were sent here as a punishment, it doesn't mean you have to be a lazy jerk. This is your civilization too. Maybe you could try helping a little. Are you done? Mr. D asked. Percy didn't answer. After saying his piece and the adrenaline rush gone, he realized who he was speaking out against. He realized that this could be very well his last words on Earth. But the thing is, he didn't care. He knew he was right. And so, Percy continued his standoff with the god despite the threat of destruction. Dionysus looked like he was going to cast a spell, but an unlikely savior came in the form of a cheering boy. "So cool," Nico yelled, holding his hands out to Chiron. "Yare were a centaur." "Sorry about this, Chiron," Bianca apologized. "We're just surprised is all." "It's not a problem, child. To be honest, we're expecting you to be still in denial or still can't believe what the video told you," Chiron said. "And yes, Mr. D'Angelo, though I prefer to stay in my human form for, first encounters." Bianca sent a thankful smile. But Nico, well, he ran up to the god and yelled, "Whoa. You're the wine dude." That did the trick to get the god's attention away from Percy. He gave Nico a look of loathing. "I beg your pardon. Did you say wine dude?" "Dionysus, right," Nico said. "Oh wow. I've got your figurine." Nico went on to explain the hit points and defense points all the gods in game. As they listened to Nico drone on, Thalia remembered the last bit of news they had to tell the centaur. "Oh yeah, and Chiron," Thalia said, causing the centaur to turn his head to them. "The hunters came here with us." Chiron gave out a grave look. "Then, may I ask you to remind the others about the game tonight?" "I think they already know, Chiron," Percy said. "But we'll still spread the word." "Thank you. Now run along now," Chiron shooed them away before Mr. D realized a demigod had talked back to him. Thalia dragged Percy until they were away from the big house. When she judged that they had put a distance between them and the porch, Thalia said, "You've already got Ares on your bad side, remember?" Percy remembered that he and Naruto had provoked the god of war into a fight 2 summers ago. One immortal enemy was bad enough. Another was just asking for misfortune to come your way. To make it worse, you even faced the wrath of the god's demigod children. So, bottom line is you better be as respectful as you can when in the presence of a god. "Sorry," Percy apologized. "It's just unfair." "Everything is unfair, Percy," Thalia said. "Especially for us mortals." Percy figured that the daughter of Zeus was speaking from experience. After all, she did die years and only just recently come back to life. Now, she finds out that Luke has betrayed camp and then Annabeth had gotten kidnapped. So, he didn't feel like arguing, since in the end, she was right. "I guess you're right. So any idea on where we could find Naruto?" Percy asked, changing the subject. I think I know where to find him, Thalia said, but their conversation was broken when they heard a commotion from the basketball court. Some of the hunters were shooting some hoops, but one of the kids from the Ares cabin argued with them. It was only a matter of time until the argument turned into a no-holds-barred brawl. Can you break up the fight and tell the others about the game tonight? Thalia said. I'll go look for that idiot. Sure. I'll handle it, Percy said. But first, sorry about what happened in Westover Hall. If Naruto or the hunters hadn't showed, he didn't need to complete that. Sake Percy. Even though I got mad at you, I would have done the same thing. She shifted from foot to foot. I guess I'm sorry too about snapping at you when you asked about it. It's just. Percy knew his boundaries. He knew he struck a chord when he asked about it, so now, he didn't feel the need to know about it anymore. No, it's okay. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. No, it's okay. One way to get over it. She took a deep breath. When we came back from Naruto's world, I went back to our old house after all this time. I found out she died in law. She was a heavy drinker and she went out drinking one night. Percy looked down. That's rough. Sorry for asking. Yeah, well, it's not like we were close or anything. That ever since she lost she looked at Percy trying to look strong. Anyway, after that, I didn't see the need to stay with her, so I ran away. Those were the best 2 years of my life, well, until you guys got the fleece and got me out of the tree. That idiot. A small smile tugged on her lips. She then wiped the rogue tears that didn't bend to her will and said, "Sock at you later. We can show the hunters who's the best to capture the flag." You got it. Percy answered. After that, Thalia jogged up the hill that housed the pine tree made from her own life force. With Naruto. Naruto was so mad at himself for being useless in the fight despite his training. I know you might call me out for being the third time I have said this, but it really hit Naruto. He trudged up the old tree that he used to visit. Despite Thalia being free from his tree ever since they returned with the golden fleece that now hangs from the lowest branch of the pine tree, it still felt right to come back here. The dragon, Peleus, had grown bigger from when he last saw him. He didn't feel surprised anymore. Maybe he was used to it after seeing Akamaru. Well, he briefly raised his head to check who was the newcomer, but he immediately lay it down when he saw that it was just Naruto. Hey big guy. Naruto said. I guess I can't call you little guy anymore. Mind if I join you? That earned a grunt of approval from the growing dragon. Thanks, Naruto said as he sat down on the tree. He jumped to one of the highest branches and sat there staring at the sky, berating himself for his failure. After all the training you have to endure, just one mistake or lapse in judgment could still cost you your life. Then his mind drifted to his mother. Even she was scared of the threat to come. And after meeting the force of the Mad Titan's forces on the ship, it was clear that the threat his mother was scared of had something to do with them. I figured I would find you here, a voice stated, bringing him out of his thoughts. He briefly looked down to check who it was and saw Thalia watching him lie on the ground. You know, it feels weird seeing my old tree like this, Thalia said. Tell me about it, Naruto answered. Remember when we used to hang out in your limbo? Yeah, Thalia's voice trailed off. Your company made things easier even if just a little. So, what are you doing here? Naruto asked. Thought you were talking Chiron. We're done. Now I have to come and pick a certain idiot out of the dirt, Thalia explained. Wonder who the idiot is? Naruto mused as he stared at the clouds. You're the idiot, Thalia scolded. Now, I will join you there whether you like it or not, she said with a bit of reluctance. Knock yourself out. I'm sure the big guy here won't mind, he replied. But how are you going to get up here? There was another grunt of affirmation came from the snoozing dragon. Though, to Naruto, it suspiciously sounds like a snore, but his mind translated it, so all suspicions were shot down. Thalia gave him an angry look, but Naruto could hear the reluctance in her voice. Come down here and get me, you idiot. Are you sure? It's quite high up here. Naruto pressed. Can you pick a lower branch? She tried to act tough, but it wasn't working. Okay, Naruto said as he jumped down and landed nimbly in front of the girl. Hold on to me, he ordered gently. Thalia still looked like she didn't want to, but she still did. Once she grabbed onto the blonde, he jumped up to the spot he was lying at earlier. The daughter of Zeus had her eyes tightly closed, still scared by the though of going up high. I suggest you open your eyes, Naruto said. Just don't look down. Her eyes slowly opened to see the sublime view of camp. The high vantage point let them see everything at camp. They saw Percy at the Ares cabin talking to a sleeping camper. There were the hunters of Artemis playing basketball on the court. They were surprisingly sharing it with the Apollo campers on the other side. Beyond the camp, the waves splashed onto shore. You could see the tree tops from the forest along with that suspicious bundle of different trees. Whoa, Thalia said. Pretty cool, huh? Naruto said. She just nodded, but she remembered she was high up in the trees and the fear overtook her, making her grab and hold on to Naruto, pressing her body as close as possible to the blonde. Why don't we just watch the clouds? Naruto suggested as he lay down on the branch. He let out a chuckle as Thalia lay down next to him. That cloud looks like Percy's face. Well, the shape is at least. You won't make me forget why I'm here, Naruto, even if we are high up here, Thalia said. Well, it was worth a shot, Naruto shrugged. Thalia smiled, so, tell me, what's on your mind? The smile disappeared from Naruto's face as he felt sad all of a sudden. Why is life so unfair? We train to get stronger, but one mistake and you're done. There will always be those strong monsters that even the training here can't help you. And why does that stupid Titan have to rise up anyway? You know, if you told me that you and Percy weren't really brothers, I wouldn't believe you, Thalia said. Well, I already considered him my brother even before his mother officially welcomed me into their family, Naruto explained. Would you bring it up? Cause he complained to me about the same thing, Thalia said. I guess like minds think alike, Naruto said. But you were acting a lot different from the stories Percy told me about you, she stated. Where's the headstrong Naruto who got me out of the tree? He's still here, Naruto answered. It's just should I only be the one who is always strong? Well, it can't be helped if people look up to you, Thalia said. Look at me. My dad Zeus, everyone expects me to lead. Look, not all circumstances are always in your favor and complaining won't get you anywhere. You can mope all day if you want, but that only gets you depressed. So, that's why we always do what we can no matter how small it is. I understand that's how you did and still do things. Wow. That's surprisingly profound, Naruto teased. Of course. Thalia rolled her eyes. You don't stay in limbo for 6 years without being able to think things through. Now, are you still going to mope around? Naruto smiled, you drive a hard bargain. If I ever catch you moping again, Thalia warned. I won't let you down, ma'am. Naruto said with a mock salute causing Thalia to punch him in the shoulder, but she still joined the blonde in his fits of laughter. The two of them stopped laughing and noticed that their gazes had intersected. They both opened their eyes and stared into each other's eyes. This caused the both of them blush at the close contact. But then, something crossed the daughter of Zeus's mind, which reminds me, I might be captain later for capture the flag. Naruto looked intrigued. Oh real I was playing with who? It's camp versus the hunters, Thalia answered. Naruto's eyes widened, this might be my chance. He didn't need to finish his statement. Thalia understood what he meant. From the stories that Naruto had told him of his childhood when she was still stuck in that tree, Naruto's life had been about acknowledgement. Getting the village to acknowledge his existence, getting his Sasuke to acknowledge his strength, and getting Sakura to acknowledge his feelings for her. Okay, that last part wasn't the best example to state okay, I'll swap it out, So getting his teachers in the academy to acknowledge his progress, happy now. Anyway, now it wasn't any different. This time he had to get a bunch of immortal maidens to acknowledge him as a brother. Now this one might be a tall task, but that wouldn't stop Naruto from pursuing it, no matter how difficult it is. So, you ready to go back? Thalia asked. I am, Naruto answered. And, thank you Thalia. Don't mention it, Thalia said. I know you would do the same for me. No, I'm hungry. As Naruto said that, a conch horn blew in the distance, signaling the campers to make their way to dining pavilion. Chapter 7. Thalia still couldn't believe she spent a whole afternoon comforting Naruto, and up in a tree no less. She shuddered at the thought. Time seemed to fly by as they talked. They never even noticed the sun setting. Naruto, being the gentleman he is, brought his companion down to the ground as gently as he could. They made it to the dining pavilion as discreetly as they could. They didn't want the camp to get the wrong idea or make it an issue. But to their surprise, the campers gave them knowing looks as they walked up despite coming in one at a time. Before the two even made it to the pavilion, they could already smell the food that the harpies made. There was pizza, barbecue, which Naruto couldn't care for, and of course his never-ending supply of ramen. Braziers and torches were hung up on the posts to keep the campers warm in the cold winter months. And as camp tradition, Naruto still questions the tradition to this day, the cabins had to sit separately on their own tables. Naruto immediately spotted Percy sitting alone on the Poseidon table. Each of the other tables had a few campers each. Even the Hermes table, who was normally brimming with campers sitting. On that table, he saw Naiko and Bianca fitting in. Naruto narrowed his eyes at what he was seeing. It seemed like the brothers were fighting over her much to the girl's annoyance. I'll join Percy today, Naruto said. I haven't seen him in 2 months. Alright, Thalia winked and made her way to the Zeus table. Naruto, on the other hand, walked over to his best friend in camp and joined him for a meal. I don't suppose your dad would mind if I sat here in the meantime? Naruto asked. Nah, bro. Percy said. He's pretty chill when it comes to you. Cool, Naruto answered and sat down in front of Percy. Ah, this brings me back, Naruto said as he brought out a pair of reusable chopsticks he got made in Konoha. All that's left is Grover shouting something about enchiladas, Percy added. The two of them turned to look at their sadder friend. Sadly, he wasn't running as he yelled about his favorite food. Yeah, that was pushing it, Naruto said as he chuckled. I guess he doesn't have to run to a cafeteria to get some food, Percy answered chuckling. It was quiet except for the laughing and giggling coming from the Artemis table and the ruckus the Knot twins Connor and Travis were making. A couple of the hunters were arm wrestling, not one of them giving the other an inch. In the other tables though, most, if not all, of the campers were eyeing the head table. To be specific, they were eyeing a certain gray-haired masked camp counselor who was chewing some food despite his mask still covering his face. How does he do that? Percy asked. Beats me. Naruto shrugged. I have been trying to know about that ever since I was a genin. Naruto's mischievous grin returned to his face. I just thought of an awesome prank for Kakashi-sensei. What do you have in mind? Percy asked. I think I want to expose Kakashi-sensei face, Naruto whispered so his teacher wouldn't hear him. Are you sure you can pull that off? Percy asked. My friend, life finds a way, Naruto answered. Don't you mean I'll find a way, the son of Poseidon clarified. Naruto shrugged. Nah, the first one sounds better. So, Naruto took a sip of the broth of his third bowl. What's up with you? You looked devastated before I came over here. Yeah, Dad's trying to blow it up, but the old sea spirits are preventing him from doing so, or so that's what Tyson said, Percy explained, sliding his slice of barbecue back and forth in his plate. What? Naruto almost yelled that out. But I blew up that ship last summer. Well, it looks like they have some powerful stuff or backing them up, Percy suggested. It seems so, Naruto said, his voice trailing off. What else? That can't be the only one on your mind. Percy's plate seemed to be intriguing as the raven-haired boy stared at it when the blonde asked his question. Well, it's getting pretty lonely in my cabin. I miss Tyson. Same here, dude, Naruto answered. How is that big guy anyway? Oh, he's doing good, Percy said. He's loving the job. I see, that's good, Naruto said. What about you? Percy returned the question. You okay now? Yeah, Naruto twirled some noodles on his chopsticks. Thalia really let me have it a while back. So, what will you do now? Percy asked. You got kicked out of your own cabin. Naruto growled. Yeah, I didn't want to say it in front of her, but where do they come from kicking me out? I feel you, Percy said. It's bad enough we aren't allowed to sleep in another god's cabin. He took a sip of his blue coke from the never-ending goblet, so, what will you do now? Naruto didn't get to answer. Chiron took that moment to raise his own cup and tapped it with a spoon. I'd like to propose a toast to our guests, the hunters of Artemis, Chiron's voice boomed throughout the dining pavilion. The campers raised their own goblets and cheered half-heartedly. It seems like they weren't too keen on having the immortal maidens over. I mean, given the camp's history with them, it's no wonder they weren't too happy. After the clapping died down, Chiron continued. I hope you have a nice day in our camp this time. Now, I would also like to formally welcome our combat instructor to camp. Please all welcome Mr. Kakashi Haddock. Kakashi stood up and waved to everyone. We've already met this morning, but I am glad to be here and teach all of you. Who's your godly parent? Someone blurted out from the Hermes table. As if to illustrate the point, a glowing symbol of an owl appeared over his head. The campers looked at him in awe. No wonder you're so smart, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto yelled out his comment from the Poseidon table. Kakashi didn't say anything. He was stunned by his claiming. After all, this was the first time he had witnessed the event happening. It is determined, Chiron said as he knelt in reverence. All around the pavilion, everyone, except the hunters, followed the centaur's example. That's not necessary everyone, Kakashi tried to stop them when he noticed what everyone was doing. Athena. He began. Goddess of wisdom, strategy, warfare and the arts. Hail, Kakashi, son of the wisdom goddess. I'm telling you it is not necessary, Kakashi insisted. Just go with it, Grover said. It's part of our tradition. Kakashi nodded as he rubbed the back of his head and beamed a smile. After that ordeal was over, everyone returned to their seats and Chiron resumed his announcements. Now, the next order of business, with the hunters here at camp, Naruto here has to be relocated in the meantime. Does any cabin want to welcome him to the cabin for a while? We'll gladly take him. Lee Fletcher, the head counselor for the Apollo cabin, announced earning nods from his siblings. After all, he is our cousin. No, he'll sleep in our cabin. Selena Beauregard, the head counselor of the Aphrodite cabin, countered. We will welcome him with open arms, right girls? A bunch of the Aphrodite campers squealed in delight and nodded vigorously at the thought of Naruto joining them in their cabin. We'll take him. Malcolm Pace, one of Annabeth's siblings and her second-in-command yelled, then continued with a wink. I'm sure Annabeth would want you to welcome you into our cabin. You can also tell us all about our new brother. Oh, he should sleep in our cabin. Travis and Connor Stoll, the not-twin counselors of the Hermes cabin, volunteered. Think of all the pranks we can come up with. And we could get to know our new additions to camp. They gestured to Bianca and Nico, with the former having a blush on her face with a get-to-know-the part. Arguments broke out throughout the cabins. Pretty soon insults were being thrown at one another. Now, not one of them was now reasoning on who should take Naruto in. Thalia tried to present her own case, but he was quickly shot down by the camp director. Absolutely not, Ms. Grace. I know what you hormonal teenagers are up to nowadays. I will not leave two campers alone in a cabin. He scolded, causing the much younger demigods to have a look of confusion and the older demigods to blush at what he was implying. Now, get this over with and let us go to the campfire. The arguments and insults returned after Mr. D's outburst, causing the activities director to sigh. Does this always happen? Kakashi asked. I'm afraid so, Chiron answered. Should we stop this? The Jonin asked again. Just give it a moment, Grover said. With a loud sigh, Chiron raised his hoof and slammed it on the marble floor, silencing the arguments. Alright, that's enough arguing for one night, his voice boomed throughout the pavilion. I didn't expect so many of you to offer your cabins. In hindsight, I kinda saw that coming, Grover said, causing the Jonin to shrug. So, you won't argue any longer, Chiron continued. Why don't we let the guest choose where he wants to stay, shall we? Me? Naruto asked. Well, I haven't really given it much thought, but tonight I want to stay at cabin 3 for a while. It will be just like old times. Nice. Percy cheered as he raised a hand for a high five with his adopted brother. The other kids let out a collective awe with the decision from all the other demigods. But, Naruto raised his hand. I could spend a night in the other cabins too, even just for a night. Cheers were heard from the other tables at Naruto's suggestions. Alright, Chiron silenced the crowd once again. Before we turn in for the night, I would like to remind everyone of our goodwill capture the flag game tomorrow night against the Hunters tomorrow. Groans could be heard from those who stayed at camp longer. Something tells me that we're playing at a disadvantage against tomorrow, Percy said. Yeah, but that's not gonna stop us, is it? Naruto said. We're going get those, Percy said. Whoa, Naruto stopped the boy. Even I wouldn't go that far. Oops, my bad. Percy chortled. Better not let them hear that then. Naruto let out a laugh of his own as he shared a laugh with the boy he considered his brother. For the first time that day, Percy felt good. He was thankful to have someone to share the cabin with. And more importantly, he was thankful to share his problems with so he wouldn't have to go through them alone. Somewhere in the west coast of the United States. A blonde-haired teen woke up on a dark hillside that was shrouded in fog. By the looks of it, you would mistake it for the underworld. The girl looked around, her breathing quickened. One thought crossed her mind, oh no. She looked around. The place seemed very spacious. You couldn't see the roof above, just continuous darkness, again fueling the theory that it was in the underworld. She began to trudge up the hill. All around her, there were old Greek columns of black marble like something blasted the place to pieces. Horn. Annabeth cried out. Show yourself, you coward. Why did you bring me here? She continued to climb the hill and made his way over to a section of the broken wall that was at the crest of the hill. What she saw next made her gasp. It was Luke. The fog and darkness seemed to be unusually thicker around him. He was crumpled on the ground trying to rise against an unseen force. His clothes were in tatters and there was a look of desperation on his face. Annabeth. The demigod called out. Help me. Please. Without thinking, she ran towards him, letting the voice of concern overpower the voice of her reason. She had tears in her eyes. Despite everything that this man did, Annabeth still cared about him. She raised her hand forward to touch the boy's face, but she hesitated at the last second. What happened? She asked. They left me here, Luke groaned in pain. Please. It's killing me. Why should I trust you? Annabeth asked, but the mere thought of asking that hurt her. You shouldn't, Luke answered. I've been terrible to you. But if you don't help me, I'll die. The crumbling sound came from the darkness above, just like an earthquake shaking a cavern roof. Huge chunks of rock broke off from the main spire of darkness, and the whole ceiling dropped. Annabeth moved to catch Luke and eased his burden even just for a bit. Surprisingly, she was able to keep it from collapsing with just her own strength. Luke rolled free, gasping and coughing from the effort. Thanks. Help me hold it. Annabeth called out. Luke caught his breath. His face was covered in sweat and grime, but Annabeth could see an evil smile strewn across his lips. He rose unsteadily. I knew I could count on you, Luke said darkly as he walked away. I knew you would take the bait. Where are you going? Annabeth yelled. Help me. Oh, don't worry, Luke said as he let out an evil laugh. Your help is on the way. It's all part of the plan. In the meantime, try not die. The ceiling crumbled again, pushing Annabeth to the ground. Cabin 3. Naruto sat up on the upper bunk of Percy's bed. Sweat made his shirt damp and his hands were clawing at the sheets. Naruto turned to the saltwater spring that gurgled along. Naruto gripped his fist. He had just seen Luke bait Annabeth into a trap. He couldn't blame the daughter of Athena though. They had spent their childhood together and she still couldn't accept the fact that the older demigod had betrayed camp. He looked out of the window and saw that the light was creeping from the setting sun. He immediately thought about his uncle, the god Apollo. That meant he had slept in that day if the rising sun was any indication. After all, the sun god sets out late in the winter. He stretched from his bed and sat up. Percy stirred on the bottom bunk as he woke up from a snore coming from his own nose. "What the?" Percy complained as the rays of the sun blinded him. "It's morning already." "Pretty much, yeah," Naruto said. "What's up with you?" Percy asked. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Tell you later," Naruto answered. "I think Grover should hear about this too." "If you say so," Percy relented. After that brief exchange, Percy and Naruto got ready for the day. Percy loaned Naruto some clothes since he didn't get a chance to go to his old room and get some supplies. Fortunately for him, Percy's clothes fit him, but they were a bit tight given that the blonde was more buff than his brother, so the shirt hugged his muscles, outlining them and highlighting them much more. That morning, before going on a shower, he decided to drop by his mother's cabin to pick up some clothes, despite what the hunters might think. A few of the females who woke up early found themselves with their mouths hanging open as they watched the blonde walk to the Artemis cabin. "I just wore something tight today," Naruto sighed. A couple of waves, hellos, flirting Aphrodite campers, and close your mouth. Something might fly ins later, and he made it to his mother's cabin. Knock knock. He knocked on the door. He found this weird as he didn't have to do this before, but he pushed that thought aside for a while as the knob turned and creaked open. "Who the hell is knocking?" The girl opening the said in an irate manner, but she caught herself as she recognized who was waiting at the door. "Oh, it's just you." "Hello." Naruto waved, giving the girl a smile. "Phoebe? Who is that?" Zoe's voice called out from the inside. "It's just the mistress's brat." Phoebe yelled back. "What?" Zoe said, then the lieutenant's footsteps could be heard stomping to the door. "You still don't look like much," those were the last things that the hunter said as the lieutenant yanked the door open and confronted the blonde. "I thought I told thee," she began, but was cut off when Naruto raised his hand. "Save it. I know what you're going to say." He answered back to the hunter's lieutenant. Zoe wasn't expecting that. He thought her mistress's son was some kind of pushover, and the rumors that spread throughout the godly world were just that, rumors. He even relented too fast when she tried to ban him from his own cabin and table without much fuss. But here, now in front of her, the air around the blonde was different. Not wanting to back down to a mere boy, the lieutenant postured to assert her dominance over the situation. "Did thou just talk back to me, boy?" Yes I did." "Why? Not used to this happening?" Naruto asked with much spunk as he can. By the little Zoe tried to charge the blonde, but she was held back by her fellow hunters. "No, Zoe, don't." Phoebe warned. "The mistress wouldn't like that." But Zoe grit her teeth and stared daggers at Naruto. "Fine." She held her gaze. "What do you want anyway?" "Look, I didn't come here to argue, you know," Naruto said. "I just came here to get some clothes for a few days. Percy's clothes don't exactly fit me." He gestured to the shirt he was currently wearing. A few of the girls gulped at the sight, but they held strong. "Why don't thou just live with it for a while?" Zoe challenged. "Thou are getting the attention you want, am I right?" She pointed to the different girls who were watching him as he spoke to the hunters. Naruto turned to look behind him. The girls around him feigned ignorance and pretended to return to their daily activities. But they were so bad at hiding their attempts of watching that Naruto saw through the facade and sweat dropped at that. He sighed and turned back to continue the conversation with his mother's right-hand woman. "That's not the point here, Zoe. Let's face it. I'm not really asking. I have as much right to this cabin as you," Naruto reasoned. "Fine," the immortal lady gripped her fists. "Make it quick." "I'm glad we understand each other," Naruto said as he entered the building, sending nods to the watching hunters. Some of the older campers sent him flashes of annoyance, while the younger ones briefly considered him. He opened his door and entered the room. The hunters tried to peek into the room to see what was inside. Zoe had to admit she wanted to peek into the room to see what made their mistress's son so special. Unfortunately for them, most of the furniture were not facing the door. They will have to rely on underhanded tactics for this one. Naruto packed a small orange bag designed with a simple check mark. The branding of which the hunters swore they saw somewhere before. He filled up his bag with clothes enough to last him a few days. He didn't pack everything as he knew he would be coming back in this room anyway. He looked at something taped on the door of his closet. They couldn't see what it was, but he looked at it with a sad smile. He stroked it with the back of his hand and closed the door. The blonde exited the room and locked the door. He didn't say another word as he walked past his sisters, but he stopped at the door to get one last word in. "Zo, we can settle this tonight at the battlefield." He didn't wait for a response as he left his own cabin. He wasn't proud of what he had done, and he knew that it would set him back from earning the acknowledgement of his sisters, but he didn't want them to push him around anymore. Hopefully, in the future, things would get better. Later. After eating breakfast, the Og trio of Naruto, Percy, and Grover sat by the meadows, watching the satyrs chase wood nymphs through the snow. Percy still couldn't believe that these trees were faster than the satyrs. But alas, they were faster. The nymphs spotted Naruto and giggled. They flexed their fingers in a come here motion, daring the blonde to come to catch them. Naruto just waved at them. In that meadow, as the boys watched the satyrs fail to catch up with the nymphs, Naruto narrated the weird dream he had about Annabeth the night before. "She was forced to carry something?" Grover asked. "Yep," Naruto nodded. "And Luke tricked her to do that?" Percy asked, gritting his teeth at the mention of the son of Hermes. "Pretty much," Naruto nodded. "I don't know what the dream means," Percy said. "Can all half-blood dreams be any vaguer?" Grover and Naruto shrugged. "I don't know," Grover began. "But after Zo's dream." Wait, hold up." Naruto waved his arms around to stop the satyr's statement. "And you know about this because?" "I sorta happened to be accidentally camped outside cabin 8, Grover meekly said as he scratched his cheek in embarrassment. "Dude, why?" Naruto deadpanned. "Just to be near them, you know," the satyr explained. "Dude, not cool," Percy said. "Yeah dude," Naruto added. "That's entering into stalker territory." "I am not a stalker." Grover defended himself. "We can call it anything we want, G-Man, but I think we can all agree, this is creepy," Percy countered. "Alright, I get it." Grover snapped, desperate to change the subject. "Anyway, I followed her to the big house." "Cough, definitely a stalker." Cough, Naruto blurted out, getting a glare from the satyr and a chuckle from Percy. "Right, sorry," Naruto apologized in between laughs. "Please continue." "Well, she was really upset when Argus didn't let her in. It was kind of a dangerous scene," Grover continued. "What did she say?" Percy asked. Grover grimaced. "Well, she started talking in an old-fashioned way, so it was kind of hard to understand, but I picked up bits and pieces. There was something about Artemis being in trouble and needing the hunters. And then she called him a boil-brained loudy, think that's a bad thing. And then she called him a..." "Wait. Kasen is in trouble." Naruto blurted out. "What did he call her?" Percy immediately asked after Grover asked. Naruto frowned at Percy's question, causing Percy to rub the back of his head. "Right, sorry. I was just curious." "How could Artemis be in trouble?" Percy asked. Well, Chiron finally came out in his pajamas and his horsetails and curlers and..." "Curlers?" Percy asked. "I think you weren't meant to see that." "Dude, you were noticing the wrong things," Naruto scolded the satyr. "What do you mean she's in trouble?" "Well, Zo was asking for permission to leave camp immediately. Chiron refused. He reminded them that they were supposed to stay in camp until they received further orders. And she said," Grover gulped. "She said, how are we supposed to get orders if Artemis is lost?" "What do you mean lost?" Percy asked. "Like she needs directions." "No," Naruto grit his teeth. "She means to kidnapped." "Kidnapped?" Percy frowned. "How are you supposed to kidnap an immortal? Is it even possible?" "Well, it has happened before. It happened to Persephone," Grover said. "Isn't she like a minor goddess? The goddess of flowers, right?" Grover looked offended. "It's springtime, Percy. She's the goddess of springtime." Right, Percy waved him off. "But Artemis is a lot more powerful. Who could possibly kidnap her?" Grover shook his head. "I don't know Kronos." "Can he be that powerful already?" Percy asked. "Remember Percy," Naruto tightened his fists. "He's not the only one stirring. Kronos still has brothers, right?" "Yes, but I don't know," Grover shrugged. "But it is weird that Zo and Naruto would have a nightmare at the same time." "Maybe they're connected," Percy guessed. Their conversation was interrupted as a loud thump was heard from the meadow where the satyrs were chasing the nymphs. A satyr's hooves skidded on his hooves as he chased after a red-headed nymph. She giggled as the goatman ran towards her. And then poof, she turned into a scotch pine and he kissed the trunk at top speed. "Ah, love," Grover swooned. "I've got to do something," Naruto said. "We've got to look for her." Grover shook his head. "Think about it, Naruto. Chiron didn't approve of Zo leaving camp to look for her. He most certainly wouldn't let you." "Who cares if he lets me go or not?" Naruto argued. "Percy left camp to go look for you last summer." "Not exactly the role model you want," Grover answered. "Hey." Percy protested. "The quest was going to fail without our help." "He's got a point, Grover," Naruto defended the boy. "Tantalus wanted the quest to fail, so he sent me and Claris alone. But this time it's different. She didn't allow any of the hunters or you follow her for a reason." I am sure Chiron would say the same thing. Grover countered. Besides, I have something that you two should see. Chapter 8. Previously on The Child of the Moon. The Titan's Curse. Dining Pavilion. A glowing symbol of an owl appeared over Kakashi's head, causing the campers to look at him in awe. The Jonin was definitely stunned at this. It is determined. Chiron's voice boomed. Kakashi tried to protest, but the centaur continued. Athena. He began. Goddess of wisdom, strategy, warfare, and the arts. Hail, Kakashi, son of the wisdom goddess. Now the next order of business, Chiron continued. Naruto needs to be relocated to a cabin while we have the hunters as guests in camp. A bunch of the campers stood to voice their requests. Pretty soon, the campers were hurling insults at each other. The boy in question just sighed in the corner as he listened to the arguments happening around him. Somewhere in the west coast. I knew I could count on you, Luke said darkly, leaving Annabeth to struggle against some unknown force. I knew you would take the bait. Where are you going? Annabeth pleaded. Help me. Oh, don't worry, Luke said, letting out an evil laugh. Your help is on the way. It's all part of the plan. In the meantime, try not to die. Luke's cackling echoed through the walls as the ceiling crumbled again, pushing Annabeth to the ground. Cabin 8. Naruto walked past the beds of the hunters as the older campers looked at him in disdain and the younger ones looking at him curiously. He stopped at the doorway and said, "Zo, we can settle this tonight at the battlefield." He left after that without waiting for the hunters to respond. Camp Half-Blood Meadows. We've got to do something, Naruto declared. We have to go look for her. Think about it, Naruto, Grover reasoned. Chiron didn't approve of Zo to leave camp. He most certainly wouldn't allow you to. Not exactly the role model you want, Grover answered. Hey. Percy protested. The quest was going to fail without our help. He's got a point, Grover, Naruto defended the boy. Tantalus wanted the quest to fail, so he sent me and Claris alone. But this time it's different. She didn't allow any of the hunters or you follow her for a reason. I am sure Chiron would say the same thing. Grover countered. Besides, I have something that you two should see. And now a word from our sponsors. Do you have problems finding the right wine for your tastes? Ganymede appeared and enthusiastically said. Do you? Viewer. Oh, for the love of. Skips ad. And now to our regularly scheduled program. Grover brought something out of his pocket. He was ready to show the two what he had in hand, but. Bark. Hey, wait a minute. Naruto said, recognizing the bark. That bark. Percy and Grover looked at each other nervously. The barks got louder. The blonde stood up to investigate where it was coming from. And then, seemingly from out of nowhere, a grey dire wolf rammed itself into Naruto, knocking him to the ground. The wolf yapped happily as he moved to attack Naruto's face with slobber. I missed you. Naruto's mind translated the barks. Where did you go? Why didn't you take me with you? I thought you left me like they did. But you're back. Oh yes I am, he answered in between chuckles as the wolf continued his assault. I was wondering where you were. Naruto said as he kept the puppy at bay. He felt weird calling the puppy a puppy because she wasn't exactly a puppy anymore. She was close to becoming a normal adult dog. Gee, you're so big now. He said, then he turned to Percy and Grover who were whistling and feigning ignorance. I thought I told you to look after. I did. Percy defended himself. But she disappeared without a trace one morning. Annabeth and I tried looking everywhere for her, but she was just gone. Is that true? Naruto asked the puppy. I went to look for you. Was the puppy's simple response, care of Naruto's universal animal translator. Naruto sighed. At least you're back now. I don't think now is the right time to tell the two of them about this, Grover thought to himself as he absent-mindedly shoved a piece of paper to his back pocket. What he didn't realize was the paper fell off his pocket and drifted off in the wind and flew into the woods. Later that evening. Naruto spent the entire day helping Kakashi train the campers and devising plans to keep. They were lucky that they got one more day of training before the big Goodwill capture the flag game. Chiron explained that the hunters were on a winning streak. They had won the past 55 times in a row. But Naruto had a good feeling about this game. He had spent his whole life being underestimated. What was one more game where the hunters expected they would win again? Percy disappeared at some point in the day, but Naruto had sensed where he had gone. It looks like he wanted to take things into his own hands as well. They really were brothers. Alas though, he came back empty-handed. Naruto understood where he was coming from. He wanted so much to leave the camp and look for Annabeth and his mother, but he was needed here in camp. He had to assist the campers in the capture the flag game, maybe as a way to prove himself to the hunters. And so here they were after eating dinner. The campers now looked hopeful, ready to test what they have learned from the newest son of Athena. Though, at the Artemis table, the hunters didn't look as happy as they were the night before. Perhaps, Zo had finally revealed to them her nightmare. Naturally, they would be worried about their mistress. As the time drew near, the campers had huddled together to think about their game plan. There were at least 3 or 4 from the Hermes, Ares, Aphrodite and Athena cabins, the son and daughter of Poseidon and Zeus respectively, and then the son of Artemis. I think we all know who should be our captain, Malcolm said looking at Naruto. I agree, Thalia nodded. Percy somehow didn't look happy at the suggestion, but he nodded in the end. Oh, he'll make a great captain, Selena said. He'll help us pulverize them. That'll show them that love isn't worthless. This is awesome. Naiko cheered from underneath the helmet that was covering his eyes. Right now, he was wearing a breastplate that was several sizes too big for him. Naruto briefly considered letting him let loose the armor altogether, but he pushed that idea aside. After all, not everyone was a shinobi trained to fight even without armor. So, what's the game plan, Captain? Thalia asked with a teasing tone. You didn't have to say it like that, Naruto said as he gave Thalia a mock glare. Whatever, Thalia chuckled. The next moments though, he was surrounded by an air of seriousness. Okay. Everybody listen up. Naruto said. I want you to remember your training despite how short it was. And more importantly, I want you forget whatever beef you have with the other cabins even just for tonight. The campers looked at each other unsure of their fellow demigods. Look, I know we all did something to each other, Naruto sighed. But do you want the hunters to continue to look down on us? Like hell, they will. Sherman, one of the Ares siblings said. That's the spirit. Naruto said. Now, for the plan. First order of business, a fence. For sure they'll send Zo to retrieve the flag. Sherman, Selena and Malcolm, I want your cabins to be the attackers. Hit 'em with everything you've got. Naruto ordered. Your 2 cabins have the biggest beef against the hunters, use this as an opportunity to get back at them. Plus, you know the woods better than them, use the home field advantage. Leave it to us. The 2 heads of the cabins answered in unison. Honor, Travis and Beckendorf, your cabins are on defense duty. Use the environment and your crafty tactics to your advantage, Naruto continued. Nice. Travis and Connor high-fived. We get to prank them. Eyes, remember, work fast, but make your traps aren't obvious or half-assed. Naruto reiterated. Charles, the head counselor of the Hephaestus cabin chuckled, I got him. Thalia and Percy, you're with me, we'll pick them off using hit and run tactics and search for the flag, Naruto said. I have a question, Malcolm spoke up. Won't the defense team be overwhelmed if Charles and the others don't get to set up the traps fast enough? Excellent question, Malcolm. Naruto praised. I trust them to get it done on time. On the off chance they don't, we and the attackers have to buy them time. Malcolm still didn't look convinced. Man, Athena's children are really hard to impress. We'll play on their mindset of thinking of us as pushovers, Naruto explained. I have been underestimated by a lot of people. You should see the look on their faces when I one-up them. Are you questioning our abilities? Charles challenged. Maybe I am. Malcolm didn't back down. You can't blame me for overthinking this. They did always beat us. Then how about let's see which of us take out more of the hunters, Charles offered. You're on. Malcolm answered. Perfect. Naruto said. Let's use that too. What do you mean? Bianca asked. A little friendly competition between friends can light a fire in their bellies, you know. Naruto answered. How about this? He raised his voice to get the attention of the others. Since you all want me to sleep over, how about this? The cabin with the most takedowns gets to take me in their cabin, deal? The Aphrodite campers squealed. We'll do our best. The only rule I require is, no underhanded tactics against your comrades. Work together. Naruto said remembering Kakashi's words when he was a genin. If you don't go against them with the intent to kill. Cool. We get to kill the other team. Naiko burst out with misplaced excitement. Naruto gave him a stern look, no Naiko. There will be no killing. This is just a game that people take way too seriously. Like you? Bianca asked. Hey, I resent that. A lot more people take it more seriously than me, Naruto said giving a look to the Ares campers. What? Sherman protested. It's not like I'm the only one who did the stabbing. I didn't say anything, Naruto deadpanned. Gee good, then. Sherman sputtered at Naruto's statement. Guilty much? Connor muttered under his breath. Shut up. Sheeman scolded. But how will they die if they're basically immortal? Percy asked breaking the argument. Well, they are immortal, but not if they fall in battle, Naruto explained. Was that how it always worked? Percy asked earning a nod from Naruto. The blonde then turned to Naiko. I appreciate the enthusiasm Naiko, but you shouldn't get excited about taking a life. Bianca came over with a concerned look on her face. Why? Did you ever try killing before? Naruto nodded with a grave look on his face. It comes with the job. I am a shinobi after all. You're a ninja. Naiko's enthusiasm returned. I thought you were just like the others, Bianca said. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. I never did get the time to tell you, did I? Tell you what, I promise I'll tell you everything later. Is that okay? Bianca nodded. I suppose. With one last smile directed at the new demigod, Naruto stood up and looked at his team. As I was saying, if you don't go against them with the intent to kill, you won't win against them. Also, if you don't work together, you won't win. So, basically, we don't hold back and work together, right? Thalia asked. Basically, Naruto nodded. So, who's with me? Hold up. Sherman stopped. We don't want you in our cabin. What do we get if we win? Naruto briefly considered this, and a familiar gleam glinted on Naruto's eye. Oh, here we go, Percy muttered, causing Thalia to give him an odd look. Well, if you win, I can let you in on a little secret that Grover might have let slip earlier. What's it about? Mark, one of the Ares campers asked. Naruto didn't answer, but his gaze wandered over to the head table, where a certain centaur was ready to speak to them. Everyone turned to look at who he was looking at. They gained a curious expression. Their curiosity turned into determined expressions. Although the rookies looked nervous, their curiosity was nonetheless piqued. But Naruto couldn't blame them for feeling that way. It was their first game after all. In the end, cheers escaped the mouths of the campers. They looked like they were ready for anything. Over at the head table, Kakashi looked at the source of the cheering with interest. To be able to rally the others like they'd grown. For the most part, Grover said as he took a sip from his goblet. Tyron's hoof thundered on the pavilion floor, silencing the chatters. Heroes. He called out. You know the rules. The creek is the boundary line. Blue team Camp Half-Blood shall take the West Woods. Hunters of Artemis Red team shall take the East Woods. I will serve as referee and battlefield medic. No intentional maiming, please. All magic items are allowed. To your positions. Intentional maiming? Kakashi asked. Oh, don't get me started on that one, Grover answered. After the centaur's announcement, the teams separated and took their positions. Blue team. Follow me. Naruto said. As the players walked, Naiko seemed excited. Magic items. Do I get one? He asked. Hate to break it to you, but you won't get one till you're good enough, Percy explained. These swords seriously hurt. I should know. Did you get stabbed? Naiko asked rather enthusiastically. Oh, this I gotta hear, Thalia said, walking next to the duo. This kid is way too enthusiastic, Naruto thought. Yes, he did. Can we talk about me getting stabbed later? Percy pleaded. Thankfully for him, Naruto dropped the story. Although Thalia had a vague idea of someone getting stabbed, she felt it from within the trees, she still wanted to know what events led to the stabbing. But she reluctantly dropped it as well since it wasn't time for that. At Thalia's suggestion, the blue team's flag was set at the top of Zeus's fist. It was a cluster of boulders in the middle of the West Woods that looked like a fist that punched its way out of the ground if you looked at it the right way. But if you looked at it any other way, it looked like a giant deer relieved itself on the area and the dropping solidified. Naruto joked about it changing the name to Poop Pile, but Chiron disagreed with the idea, especially since it was initially named after the king of the gods. He really doesn't have a good sense of humor. Remember the time Naruto sent him a toy lightning bolt when he lost the original? Yeah, another joke just like that might risk him getting struck down by his master bolt, even if he did have a demon fox sealed in his gut. Anyway, I've rambled off again. Geez. It was a good place to place the flag, since it was high enough that it was clearly visible like the rules said it had to be, and it didn't matter if you weren't allowed to stay within 10 yards of it. Alright, just a heads up to everyone, Naruto said. They'll probably fight using mid to long ranged attack. Do not engage immediately. Wait till they're within close range distance. Also, do not underestimate their close ranged combat. They are trained for that as well. The horn blared through night, signaling the start of the game. Everyone, game faces on. Naruto announced, then raised his hands in a familiar hand sign. Taj Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Clones dispersed around the area in groups of 2 to 3. The two siblings who didn't know about Naruto's abilities widened their eyes. The captain decided to send out his clones to scout the area and find out their opponent's game plans. Naruto stood in silence as he waited for news from his scouting party. Come on, Ellis, one of the Ares campers, said impatiently, tapping his feet on the ground. Just give me a sec, Naruto said in sympathy. All these other demigods had ADHD just like he and Percy did. They didn't play the waiting game all too well. What's he doing? Bianca asked. He's waiting for word from his clones, Percy answered. Whatever they see gets sent to the original once they disperse. Cool. Naiko praised. Just as Percy said that, Naruto opened his eyes as the memories from the clones flooded his mind. Bingo, Naruto muttered. Like that? Bianca asked, earning a nod from Percy. Okay. Defenders, get started. Naruto began. Got it. The said team answered and they went on to do their jobs. Attackers, the hunters' main force is advancing towards us in the middle. It seems they're hitting us with their full force. They're thinking we won't even get to their flag. Intercept them and remember what I said. He continued. Thalia and Percy, before we go to their flag, let's help the attackers, Naruto said, and his friends nodded. And so, the blue team went on to work. The Shermans and Selena's cabins hid behind the trees lying in wait. Naruto and his team snuck to the sides of the path the clones had seen to catch the hunters off guard. They were by the creek. Man, this place gave Percy some horrid memories. He could still feel Clarissa's electric spear. Anyway, the hunters crept through the creek sneaking into enemy territory. Unknown to them, 3 pairs of eyes watched them as they crossed to the other side. Percy, send them a wave, Naruto whispered. Then Thalia, give them the shock of their lives. Just a little though. With pleasure. Leave it to me. The 2 children of the big 3 answered. They closed their eyes, concentrating hard enough to control their various elements. The creek's water stirred. The hunters didn't even notice. Then, the water rose to above their height, getting their attention. It's Poseidon's brat. Phoebe warned as she rolled out of the way along with most of their team. Not all of them were lucky though. Around 5 or 6 of them were doused in water. But that was the least of their worries as the familiar crackle of lightning pierced through the night. The lightning hit the moist part of the ground and a small jolt of electricity traveled following the trail to the dampened hunters. No. Phoebe yelled as she watched her sisters drop down unconscious on the ground. She rushed immediately to their sides, checking their pulse for a beat. She breathed a sigh of relief once she felt the familiar beats of her carotid pulse. The leaves rustled around them and they saw the familiar blonde hair of their mistress's son running towards the direction of their flag. A growl escaped her lips, angry at the fact that they were caught off guard. How? Every time we play, it's supposed to be easy. She sent a fierce look towards the blonde's retreating form along with his 2 companions. Get them. Naruto turned and sent him a goofy grin and gave an order. Selena, Sherman. You're up. The fierce battle cry echoed through the woods as various campers who they recognized as the love goddess's children and the demigods who they had a spat with the day before. They definitely felt different, especially the Aphrodite kids. Was the training they saw the other day not just for show? Payback time. Mark yelled as he moved in for an attack. But Naruto, Percy, and Thalia. They tried to stifle their laughter as much as possible as they snuck around the area. Did you see the look on her face when we fried the others? Thalia said, keeping her voice as low as much as possible. Yeah. It was priceless. Percy echoed her glee. That will teach those stuck-up hunters, Thalia huffed. Naruto looked at them and smiled briefly. That was some nice work, you guys, he praised, then his expression turned serious. But we're not done yet. We still have to find the flag. But how do we find it? Percy asked. We could take all night. Easy, Naruto said matter-of-factly. Give me a sec. Naruto sat down into a meditative position and stayed still for a moment. What's he doing? Percy asked. Can't you feel it, seaweed brain? Thalia gave him a stern look. What am I supposed to feel? He looked at Naruto and he still couldn't see anything different. He studied Naruto for a couple of seconds until an orange pigmentation appeared around Naruto's eyes. I'm surprised you were able to feel it, Naruto told the daughter of Zeus. Well, I was once one with the valley. I can sense the energy around us, Thalia explained. I guess that makes sense, Naruto answered. Wait a second, Percy finally realized. It feels just like that time, but you look different from that time, he said, remembering the thin slits that replaced his pupils that time in Polyphemus's island. Yep. Naruto said. He revealed his eyes to now have yellower eyes with a thick horizontal slit in the middle. This is what it looks like when it is complete and perfect. Senonage plus Chan called it Senendo or Sage mode in our language. How does this work? Percy asked. Apparently, this mode doesn't only make me super strong and super durable, it also expands the range of my senses, Naruto explained. Whoa, Percy was amazed by what his best friend had attained. So, where are they? Naruto pointed straight ahead. There. And so, they crept towards the direction that the blonde pointed to a while back. Percy found it weird that there wasn't any resistance anywhere. He counted earlier in the bus that there was roughly the same number of hunters as they did with the campers. Phoebe wasn't leading a lot of hunters from what they could tell. So why was it that no one was popping up to stop them? Their questions were answered when they popped up in a clearing where a silver flag was raised above the ground. There was no one there but a lone camper lazily waiting for the game to end. What the? She said, standing upon hearing the leaves rustle. It seems she wasn't expecting anyone to reach their flag. Naruto was right. They were underestimating them so much that they didn't leave anyone there to defend their flag. Hey, it's you. The girl said upon recognizing the blonde. Don't you recognize me? It's me, Kate. She rushed over and gave Naruto a friendly hug. Naruto wasn't sure what to do, so he just patted her on the back and broke the hug. She then turned to Percy and narrowed her eyes at him. "Oh, and you too," she eyed Percy with anger in her eyes. I feel like I know you from somewhere," Percy said, trying to pry his mind open for the information. "Don't tell me you forgot about what you did to my home." She spoke. "Hey, you turned me into a guinea pig. And in the middle of my quest even." Percy protested. "You didn't have to free Blackbeard too," the hunter countered. "That was Annabeth, not me," Percy corrected. "Still, you two were responsible for it," she reiterated with bitterness in her voice. "Anyway, if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have gotten out alive." "It's great that you're here, well and good," Naruto said. "So, does that mean you'll hand over your flag?" She gained a determined look. "That doesn't mean I'll go easy on you. Besides, you wouldn't hit a girl, would you?" "Oh, shut it," Thalia said and chopped the back of her neck and sent a small jolt of electricity to knock her out. He turned and gave the boys a stern look. "You're wasting time. Don't you want to win?" "Alright." Hi. Percy and Naruto said as they rubbed the back of their heads at the same time. Then, they both gained a serious expression. "Let's do this," Naruto said. "Better. Don't let her get away." A voice caught their attention and they looked at each other with a wary look. They wasted no time after that. The lone hunter carrying the flag bearing the camp's insignia was rushing towards the creek. This was what the scouting party saw as they were rushing towards the goal line. After plucking the silver flag from the hunter's hiding spot, they heard a series of clashes from their teammates. Despite their training, the campers weren't able to subdue the more experienced right-hand woman of Moon Goddess. "Oh, no. We're not going to make it," Thalia said as they dashed as fast as they could towards their goal. "Like hell, they're winning," Naruto growled. "Percy, hand me the flag." Percy tried to reason. "There's no time," Naruto snapped. Percy stopped. This was the hardest thing he had to do in his life, trust someone to do things, but if there's one person he would trust to do this, it would be Naruto. So, he threw it. "I guess it can't be helped," Naruto muttered to himself. It was loud enough for his friends to hear, but they didn't question him. "I'll have to whip it out." Naruto stood there with his eyes closed deep in concentration. The two were staring at him for maybe about 2 seconds, but he suddenly disappeared. "But oh. You're not getting ack," a camper yelled as he was knocked to the side by this particular hunter. They were definitely caught off guard by the multitude of traps that these wretched campers had set up. First, Elizabeth and a few others were hanging by their waist a few feet off the ground, while the others were buried neck deep underground. Secondly, Phoebe and her team were sprawled down on the ground. She never expected the campers to get the upper hand like this. She was rushing towards the boundary line to get the flag to the other side. At the same time, she spotted her mistress's son doing the same with his 2 companions, except they were unopposed. Zoe grit her teeth as she ducked under an Aphrodite camper's swing and sent a punch to her midsection. She never expected for her to avoid her attack though. Since when did the love goddess's children fight so well? She shook that thought off her head as she rolled past another swing and swipe at her feet slam onto her chest. The blonde kid is now almost to the creek. She growled as she desperately tried to increase her speed. As she zipped past one tree in particular, she did not notice some strange writing's glow. She just ran past it with her sights fixated on the goal line. And then, she finally made it. She leaped across the creek and landed on moist soil. She planted the orange flag on their side of the creek. She waited for Chiron to announce the winner, but 4 words were spoken that made her freeze for the first time in her immortal life. "Hey, how's it going?" Line break. What if Naruto was the child of the moon and Percy Jackson end here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.